Yo guys, how's it going? We're back again. This time with the Blood Angels. We're taking a break from Lenny today. No reason other than that yesterday, music's a little loud. Yesterday, I kind of chilled out for the day. Started doing a little bit of assembly and a few of the little bits that need to happen for things like the Necronathon. And I can safely say that the Psychomancer is one of the most pain in the ass minis to build ever. My God. So we're this far through. We've assembled like most of the dude. And it's a nightmare. It is such a nightmare. This is one of the only minis I've ever done a bit of like assembly and I had to leave it to dry fully before starting the next bit. There are so many tiny places where things attach. It's madness. Absolute madness. But hey, that took up way too much of my day yesterday doing little things like that, which is why we didn't get much done on these Blood Angels, and so we need to get some work done. If you haven't seen the How to Paint Blood Angels video, exclamation point YouTube, head on over there. We did a full video workup on how to do the armor of your Blood Angels to get them looking exactly like this dude. That's part one. Essentially, part two will be on Patreon with how to do all of the other bits, which includes the power sword, getting your decals done, the gold, the black, the grey, everything. Literally everything. Des, thank you very much for that host. And can I please say a tremendous thank you to Akuna Matata, 18-month streak. And he subbed just as we went live. What an absolute superstar. Cheers, brother. We got Spleen999 in the chat. Ichu, see us sit. That's on Des. And a crooked grin says his Psychomancer aura affects the real world. It does. He's too strong. Too strong. Liang, how you doing, bro? I know we keep saying it, but we're going to need to spend some time and sit and have a smoke and chill. Next weekend, on Saturday after the stream, I could do something if you're free, but not the weekend afterwards. Because our weekend after next is the Necronathon. Part 2. Oh, man. It's going to be great. Okay, so you guys can't see this. But I'll see if I can get a picture here in Discord. This is extremely out of focus. Come on, focus up. There is a cat sat on top of the banister, blending into the walls. I kept seeing something out the corner. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Now I know. Let's get this in the general chat of Discord. Boom. There, ladies and gentlemen, is my my idiot cat. Wrong button. There she is. There she is. I kept seeing something move, and I'm like, what is going on over there? And of course, every time I move, the microphone boom is in the way, and I couldn't see her. But literally lurking. Can't do Sunday nights, mate, because we stream on a Sunday night. Saturday after the stream, I can do. And other than that, we're looking at... Well, I could possibly take some time on Monday. It'd have to be a short smoke. Right, we're kicking it off. These guys have had their base coat and their first highlight down. Darren McCormack Parker, thank you for the follow. Jay's lost it. He's psing at his models. I mean, we all talk to our minis, right? Even if it's things like, how could you miss that shot? Or all you needed was one wound, you cretin. You know, things like that. Don't bully me. Hey, that cat is the most cared for pampered cat that you'll ever find. And I think I finally ran out of red paint. No, just got enough to do this. I've got everything ready, like, so off stream. We got everything ready we needed to transfer the dropper bottle, sorry, the paint into the dropper bottle, just in case. Where's Meep hiding? To be fair, at this time of day, she's normally like upstairs in bed, just chilling and like doing absolutely no all. Unless it's warm and sunny. If it's warm and sunny, she's outside. Danny, how you doing? Lee, what up, dude? Oh, Danny, thank you very much for sending this. This is one of the new flight stands from G-Dubs. And I've got to admit, I nearly shat myself this morning. Because this box came and it got handed over. I sort of picked up the box from the postman. I'm like, I can't remember what I ordered. And as I moved, it jingled, and it either sounded like two bits of metal hitting each other, or two bits of broken glass hitting each other. I'm like, oh, what is this? What is this? Opened it, and of course it's this jingling about. Oh, thank Christ. But yes, epic flight stands, these. They're great. Type of Snurgle, how you doing? Right, let's get to it. This is highlight number 2 through the airbrush on all of these. We've got 5 intercessors and 5 assault intercessors to do. This guy is an intercessor sergeant. And then we've got a fuckload of panel lining with strong tone to do. There are 5, 10, 15, 17 Marines, because 2 of them are characters, 3 Outriders to do. Once we've got all of that done, then we'll move on to something a little bit more fun. I was going to send in a box of my croissant along with some spruce. Yeah, right. Brilliant. Awesome, mate. Have fun with Morty. He's such a bastard to paint. Like, a full-on bastard to paint. Just going to quickly clean the tip. The airbrush out already this morning. Let's zoom in. Zoom and enhance. Not the board though, the mini, please. No, the mini, this little red man's. There we go, there we go. Snake, how you doing, mate? And Funky, does that mean Frozin has his now too? I don't know, I can't speak for his mailman. But potentially. So we've had some more stuff put in the Streamiversary lists channel, so do make sure you're checking that out on the regular, having a look through all the new lists, voting for the ones that you like. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, and there probably isn't many, I think most of the channel is like regularly here enough to have heard this. For the stream's birthday in April, so the last weekend of April, the Streamiversary, we will have a raffle for a fully painted army. We just need to know which army it should be and what we should be painting. So if you would like to submit a army for consideration, exclamation point list. Ah, shit. No, Danny, I haven't done it. My admin day is always Monday morning. So Mondays is basically like that. So all of Monday morning is admin, whether it is like random stuff like that, setting up channel points goals or changing emotes or whatever else it might be. And then Monday afternoon onwards, we just get on with painting before lessons and stream later on. But Monday is always admin day. And the reason for that is because I find it's very easy to get distracted and end up down this weird rabbit hole. So if I limit myself to just one morning, the painting doesn't suffer. a sec. So we can, 3 Heldrakes. So, obviously, you could be a bit of an arse and submit a list like that, but it would just get deleted. Right. I've got a weekend's worth of painting. Like, there's no way I can't do 3 Heldrakes in a weekend. Is it going to be fun? Meh. They're not great models. They're really not. They're also not something you can actually fit in a battalion or a patrol. So it's not a usable army. Therefore, it doesn't fit the theme. And it doesn't follow the instructions of 1 or 2 HQ, 1 or 2 troops, and so on. What's your thoughts on the Daughters of Cain AOS army, my dude? It's a Sigmar army. That's kind of like asking Jeremy Clarkson what his thoughts on vegetarianism are. Don't really do Sigmar. I love some of the minis. No, to be honest, mate, for this we're just going like full down with the air, because there's no need for like super careful brush strokes here. All we're doing, and I admit this sounds very cavalier and a little bit arrogant, but all I'm doing is applying a few highlights to some Marines. This isn't tough at all. And Danny, the issue you're having is you're pulling back too far on the trigger. So this is relatively thick paint. It's 1-to-1. I can't believe I'm using that as thick paint, but in comparison to some of what we spray through the airbrush, this is definitely quite thick. So you'll see that even when we get real close, and I'm practically touching my hand now, it's only at that point we start to get it. If you, however, only back the trigger off the tiniest amount, I'm actually making contact between the airbrush and my hand now. If you only back the trigger off the tiniest possible amount, and we're using full air, just not using much paint, see, we're not actually getting any spider webbing. Okay, so you can spray with as much force as you want. See, my thumb is right down on this, and you can have very diffuse, very light paint spray without spider webbing, almost regardless of how close you want to get. Obviously, the closer you get, the tighter your spray, and so on. It's all about how far back you pull the trigger. This motion from here to here will do quite a lot of harm if you go too far. So, what's the first time? True Fancy can get revamped? Yes, it is Old World or something I think it's called. But there you go, Danny. That's a full breakdown of what your airbrush problem is. We're not diagnosing the rest on stream. It's a 0.3mm aperture, IO Water Eclipse. Literally the best airbrush you can buy as far as I'm concerned. And I think I'm going to have to break this down and clean it in a sec, because there's a clog. I can feel it. See all these bubbles coming up in here? In fact, let me just try one other thing. Nice, Danny. It's one of those things that you are literally learning a new skill, so don't think of it as like, well, I can paint alright, and suddenly I'm airbrushing and everything's turned to shit. Like, it's not that at all. You are learning a new skill. You are learning to paint again from scratch. And that's what a lot of people forget, and they get frustrated with airbrush and so on. And I am going to have to give this a quick breakdown and clean. I was using this morning or something else, and it's obviously got a slight issue. So, quick bit of airbrush maintenance then. Don't pull the needle out while there's paint in there. I've just loosened the nut and drawn the needle out so we can get full flow through the nozzle. I'm going to rinse that through with water. Zoom out and you guys can see what's going on. So right now all we're doing is just flushing this cup through with some water. You see all I'm doing is pushing down on the trigger because we've controlled with the needle how much is allowed to go through. So once that's relatively clean, we can break it all apart. So essentially what you want to do is give yourself a pile of stuff that you don't need to clean, the pile of stuff that you do need to clean. You need some tissue, which I don't have out on my desk at the moment. I just feel like Sigma has to try to make 40k style into Old World. I think it's quite different. The way combat works in Sigmar is very different to 40k from what I've been told. There's different engagement ranges of like 3 inches, and then minis have like a range on their melee attacks, so some of them might need to be even closer than that. There's definitely some tactical play to it. The reason that I don't play it, I've said this before many times, is that I have absolutely no interest in going to a 40k tournament and finding out that I've played something wrong because I misremembered a rule that was from Sigmar. Right, so these are the bits you need to clean, those are the bits you don't. Get yourself some things like old toothbrushes, some of those like wire baby bottle brushes and so on, and always clean your needle flat on a surface. So I'm just going to use my desk. Always brush away, never go back and forth like this, because what happens if you catch the end of the needle? You'll bend the needle either at the tip or right the way down it if you're unlucky. So always just brush away. Once that's done, just feel for any like tiny sort of bits of dried on paint and so on. They will have an effect on what your airbrush is doing. For this, which is the second most important thing, just dry up that bit of water. Put the board back in the right place. Obviously if the needle's bent, your whole airbrush is fucked. If there's a problem with this, your whole airbrush is fucked. So start off with a smaller one of these little pipe cleaning tools. Get that in there. As much as you can use things like airbrush cleaner, right? And I know people that just use airbrush cleaner. When they finish airbrushing, they run airbrush cleaner through their airbrush and they think that they're done. No. Airbrush cleaner will help to break down dried paint. Putting something like isopropyl alcohol through your airbrush will do the same thing. Except that will also start to petrify the O-rings and so on that you've got in there, and means that you'll need to replace those more often. That's not the end of the world. They're cheap. They're O-rings. Don't buy them from Iowata. Buy them from any hardware store that sells the right size O-ring. These are brilliant. These are interdental flossing brushes. Now, I don't know what fucking gap-toothed mong you've got to be to fit this copper core in between your teeth. But there's absolutely no way I'd even attempt that. But they're great. Fucking cat air everywhere. They're great for cleaning your needle. So you get right in down into the nozzle. Give that a quick swill out. Do it a couple of times. Now the reason you're doing this is because you are having some sort of abrasive go into the airbrush and remove dirt forcibly from there. If you just use airbrush cleaner, all you're doing is anything that is in the path of the paint will get essentially pushed along the airbrush. Now, what if, as it is there to dissolve and help to sort of break down build-up of paint, what if it's managed to remove it from an area between, say, the cup and the end of the nozzle here? Exactly, Liang. That's going to feel pretty rank. Dusty Telephone, how you doing? But all you've ended up doing with something like that is push and compact all of that dried up paint down to this point of your nozzle. And at that stage, it's just going to start to close in around everything you've got coming out of here. And that's super important. You can't allow it to happen. The next thing to do, a lot of people will tell you not to do this. And I will tell you to be extremely careful doing this. I've had this airbrush now for about 4 years. And the only thing I've had to replace is 2 O-rings. Take your needle, insert it all the way into your nozzle. Okay. And what you're going to do now is you're going to start feeling, using the needle inside this silver tip right at the end. Now you can buy a tool for this. I don't have one. I don't feel I need one. I'm not using the point of the needle and sort of stabbing it in around like the lip that forms around here. We're going right the way through the airbrush. And all we're doing is looking for any resistance. You can feel it. You can feel the difference in what's going on there. So just moving around the inside. And then wipe that off. Now you can dip your needle into some spirits, some thinners, some isopropyl alcohol, whatever, and do this if you feel like it. There's nothing there that it will damage. Obviously, be extremely careful. These 2 things are what allow the airbrush to function. If you fuck up either one of these, it's gone wrong. Danny, unless they are exactly the same dimensions as this, I wouldn't do it. Because this and this are made to go together. Right, let's clean the rest of these bits nice and quick. Behave. Make sure you get inside this hole here. This is where the nozzle sticks out. God, there was a blockage. I fucking knew it. And it was right there. See that massive lump of red paint? That's just a bit of dried paint that ended up in there. That's what was causing it. I knew it. You bar steward. So also get in around the threads and so on. Paint can build up in there. And this is an ideal time to talk to you guys about the birthday present I received, Airbrush Lube. That's a really, really, really good product that I want to make. You get one. You get a little tube of it in your airbrush box. What you tend to do is forget that it exists, I think, and never use it, and you really should. Like any machine with moving parts, and that's what your airbrush is. You know, it needs to be cared for, it needs to be maintained, and one of those bits of maintenance is sort of oiling it. Think about your car engine, or like even just something simple like a lawnmower or whatever. These are things that you would have a lubricant in to ensure that you haven't got bits of metal grinding on other bits of metal. Your airbrush is no different. The other benefit of using a lube is obviously it provides a surface that sits above the steel and stops things sticking to it, such as paint. Commissar Bob! Hey, dude! How's it going? I'm going to be here for a bit. Got an Armada game. What's an Armada game? All these newfangled things, eh? But thank you very much for that sub, dude. Good to see you as always. Hope you're doing well. Commissar Bob, exclamation point list. You should definitely do that. So let's grab the lube. A bit early in the day if you're doing a stream with lube, I know, but you know, we'll get through it. So there's the gigantic bottle of this that will last me forever. 0.34 fluid ounces. This is more than you'll ever need. What you want to do is just lube up this thread. Don't use a lot. A little of this goes a long way. Just do a little bit at the top and a little bit at the bottom. This will help to protect the O-ring that's there as well. Bollocks. Forgot to clean that bit. Pop your nozzle on and then pop that housing on there. And just sort of move that back and forth a bit to help disperse the lube, the oil, essentially, in among those threads. Mechanics use a thing called copper paste. Yeah, absolutely. I've used that before, putting an engine back together. Same goes, a little bit on there for your crown. And you really don't need much here. You've got a very, very, very small thread, but this stops it from sticking. It just helps it to sort of move about a little bit. When it comes to things like your trigger mechanism, I put a little dot of this just in here, and then just let the trigger move around for a little bit, settling that in place. Now, I normally do this around the first of the month. We're just doing it again now because we kind of got on the subject of it, but because of that, and the fact that I've done it already over the last couple of weeks, I'm not going to lube up this, but what I would normally do is put quite a lot on here, so that when you screw that in to this recess, and this is one of the most important ones to keep loose, because that can get really, really tight, it leaves a residue on that thread there, so that when we put our housing on, that's got some oil to move into. And this is important. Put pressure on your needle, obviously in a downwards way, not in a sideways way. Sideways way. And then locate a nut. Don't force the needle in there. Okay? Really don't do that. If you do, you run the risk of damaging the nozzle. But just put enough pressure on there, light hand pressure, to ensure that it's going to get firmly located in the other end, providing you with a good seal and stopping anything else going on. Of course, Bob, that's the thing. You don't need to write a list that is competitive or decent or anything else. You just need to find a few things that you like to see, put together in a narrative form. Buddy Minis, how you doing? Oh. Right, so now we've almost certainly run out of paint. So next trick is to refill this. So just going to remove the dropper from our dropper bottle, if we can. Come here, you tart. Tricky to do with a glove on. Here we go. So, we have the following tools. A funnel, a little tiny one. A new dropper bottle, which I don't know why I bothered getting out, but what we do need is that ball bearing. We'll save that for another paint. We need the paint. This is Cador Red Base from P3, the best red, the absolute best red. Just hit BA Vanguard Vets on there. Commissar Bob, you can do whatever you want. Just make sure you follow the instructions written in that post. So 1 or 2 HQ, 1 or 2 troops, if that. And then 1 thing from another part. So because we've got quite a large bottle or pot or whatever here, I'm going to drop in 30 drops of flow improver. like so, and then 30 drops of thinner. The reason we use both is because Flow Improver and thinner both contain a lot of water. Thinner contains alcohol, which speeds up the drying process. Flow Improver contains a drying retardant, along with other things like glycerin I found out the other day. Which slows down the drying process. So by putting both of them in, you balance that out, get an equilibrium. So now we shake the fuck out of that paint. That ball bearing is in there, so that if there's any part of paint that is sort of settled around the bottom, and I do this kind of swinging motion to sort of move it around the bottom of the outside, that will start to pull that up into the mix, get everything really nice and homogeneous and all the other cool buzzwords. And at the end of it, we've got some really nice looking bright red paint. Lift the funnel out of the bowl so there's no seal around that, and you just pour in. So you can see the paint is still quite thick, except you can't. If I do that, you can see the paint is still quite thick. It's not super runny at all, despite the fact we've just watered it down with 60 drops of fluid. We've still got very, very, very thick paint. Perfect for brush painting with still. Won't go through the airbrush without additional thinning. We try and get as much as we can out of there. What we don't want to do is get a little steel ball bearing out of there, because then that drops in the funnel and that clogs the funnel, and then you got to get it out and you get fucking stuff everywhere. There you go, that's done. There's a little bit left in that pot, which if you really wanted to, you could scrape out with a brush and so on, but I'm honestly not fussed. Put everything back together. And boom, there we go. So that was two things I didn't think I'd have to do on stream today. One was deep clean the airbrush because of a little blockage we had from this morning's work. And the other one was fill up this paint bottle. Face and Bases! How's it going, bro? Just filled all my empty pops with hot glue and whacked blue tack on top. Oh, right, I see. For holders. Yeah. Yeah. That'll do it. Sounds like a lot of hot glue. You probably spent more in hot glue than I spent on... You probably spent more in hot glue than I spent on my first batch of shot glasses. There you go. Is your man keeping the shed? No, hell no. No, this is the studio. It's the paint studio. It's my... Well, my kitchen's there, so... It's not so much a man cave as a man house. Like, that's where everyone goes wrong, alright? It's got to be a compromise with your lady. Obviously. But she and I don't live together. And likely won't for definitely the foreseeable future. For starters, she's got a cat that I'm allergic to. I love cats. I've lived around cats since I was a kid. But Crazy Fish, you can have a shout out as well. Shout out everyone. Shout outs for everyone. Oprah Winfrey style. But yeah, I'm allergic to this one cat that she's got called Mr. Pigs. Alright, this is much better. You can feel the difference already. And trust me, when you airbrush as much as I do, you can definitely feel these things. The airbrush and the paintbrush obviously just become like an extension of you. I know it seems very much like Mr. Miyagi says and so on, but when you spend 80 hours-ish a week with a paintbrush in your hand, you start to get a very intuitive feeling for how it is. And just to go back to my original point, Danny, like, so we go full pressure. You see the thumb is right down. Working real close now. Almost touching my hand. And there's that paint. So now it's not tempered by a blockage. No spider web. Super simple. Shade on, shade off, yeah. Lee, I have no idea, bro. It's I would say a Manx cat. It's got this tiny, tiny short ass tail. And really, really, really short fur. And apparently it sort of sets her off a little bit in summer when he molts. It's not actually her cat. It belonged to a friend of hers that asked her to look after it while they went on holiday for a long trip, like a 3-month, more like traveling than on holiday. I appreciate, but and then when they got back, the friend just didn't take the cat back, so they ended up with it. You know, should not be Daniel-san. I suppose, yeah. I still haven't watched season 3 of Cobra Kai. I watched the first 2. The first one was good. The first one was so good, in fact, I ended up with a subscription to fucking YouTube Premium or whatever it is. And I've just got paint drying on the needle. Today it's doing no good. I'm gonna add a little bit more flow improvement to this. And so yeah, it's just an allergy cat, basically. I think. One thing I will say though is that Mr. Pigs is in human years 21 years old, which means, and we looked at this up, in cat years he is 105. Motherfucker. And he's still loving life, doing Mr. Pig's things. He's a good cat. It's just, obviously, I can't really pet him for very long. Otherwise, I'll end up sneezing for the next 3 days. He can't sit on my lap or anything. Same issue, but he's a really, really nice cat. Really, really nice cat. That is old. That is fuck old. Like, Jackie jokes that she thinks he's forgotten how to die. Like, that's a bit dark, obviously, but that's kind of the way we see Mr. Pigs. It's just, yeah, he was going to die, and then just like, nah, can't be asked. It seems like too much hard work, I'll just chill. Right, because this guy's a sergeant, we're going to highlight the armour trim around the shoulder pad. The shoulder pads themselves will be painted black. Do a little bit just there as well. Boom. Right up here for the Shirim. Yeah, he's a good cat. He's very cute, despite being old as hills. He sometimes can't get into the litter box though, which means that occasionally there's a poop. Gotta watch your step every now and again. You know. What's your take on tarantulas, my dude? I think they're really, really good support weapons. I don't do spiders. I'm not scared of them. I grew up in the countryside, and so we had some big fucking spiders. But as long as they go away and leave me the fuck alone, we're all good. Don't like them crawling on me. In fact, don't really like anything crawling on me. That includes things like people as well. Like, just no. But any kind of bug, nah, not a fan. In a similar way, I don't like snakes. A girl I used to see, sort of off and on, had some corn snakes, and this was like her biggest thing. Like she loved corn snakes. I think they were corn snakes. Sounds about right. And she wanted me to hold one. And I sort of sat there with this thing in my hand, and I'm like, this is great. And it's sort of going between my fingers and stuff. It's obviously having fun. But I know that if it moves in a way that I feel is threatening, I'm just going to, like... And I don't want to hurt the snake. Huntsman on the balcony. Fuck that noise. The worst... Like, my old man went to Papua New Guinea when he was about 25. So this was 50 odd years ago. And what is going on today? Just got paint drying on the needle quite a lot. It's annoying me. Sometimes this happens with like super bright or super vibrant colours. Happens a lot with white and anything that's very light. But got to keep cleaning that off. Anyway, he when he went out there, they had like a safety briefing. He was part of the ATC, which is like you're not in the RAF, but it's like the civilian version of like the Army Cadets, but air. And they teamed up with the Prince's Trust to go and build an airfield. So off he went. He spent 6 months in Papua New Guinea, having what I can imagine is the fucking time of his life. I've seen some photos, and what a place! What a place! It's on the thread of around the cat tap. Fair enough. Faces and bases. Like the house is shared with the cat. You know, she's my baby. She doesn't go on the desk. Like, you can definitely train animals. She'll go on my chair. Absolutely, she won't sleep on my chair, but she'll sit on my chair. But anyway, he went out to Papua and did this safety briefing, and part of the safety briefing was make sure you put cling film over the toilet at all times and so on. And he's like, I don't get why. And then they told him about this spider called a kangaroo spider. I don't know if that's his real name or what, like they use to get people to be able to remember it. And kangaroo spiders are called kangaroo spiders because they carry elves into battle. Wait, no, that's not right. They jump. They jump. Liang, traffic. Meat goes outside, and when Kira was alive, Kira would spend quite a lot of time outside, and then Kira played with a Land Rover, basically. Didn't end well for her, which sucked. Moving on from that horrible subject. So these kangaroo spiders, they jump, right? And so you'd have the occasional morning where you'd go to the loo, bleary-eyed apparently, and you'd forget there's fucking cling film there, and you go, and it's like, oh no, oh fuck, and you've like fountain piss up everywhere. So apparently that was an issue every now and again, but that was less of an issue than if you'd forgotten to put the cling film on there, because these spiders like dark, moist, warm places, and so that they'd sit in the bowl, and obviously if they feel threatened, they spring, and unsurprisingly, they don't like being whizzed on. Comradson, how you doing? Daddy Tubbs, whatever. Sorry, what up? Not whatever. Like, I don't know why I said that. I haven't had enough coffee yet today, obviously. But yeah, that's a fucking solid no for reasons to travel to foreign countries. Is that one? Marap, cheers for the follow. So yeah, careful for those jumping spiders. Spiders fucking everywhere in the toilet, not small ones, massive fuckers. Oh no. Jeez. At least none of the spiders we've got out here are poisonous. Like, you might get a spider bite, but it's going to be irritating, and you might have a bit of a rash. I suppose if you have some sort of allergic reaction to it, then it could be bad, but it's severely unlikely, I'd say. It's not the same for down here on the south coast. You don't have anything that's really poisonous, though. Like, it's not like if you go on holiday in, say, Devon, you have to pack some weird, like, anti-venom or anything. So, it's not the same as if you lived in, like, Australia, where the entire world wants to kill you. Really? I didn't know that. Woo, big up the Devon Massive. God. But yeah, spiders I'm totally okay with, but as long as they stay where they need to stay, in their web, away from me, doing spidery things, helping to catch flies and everything else. Oh shit, do you guys remember? We had a huntsman moth come in the studio last summer. The doors were open and it fucking flew in. You could see it flying around in the background. And then every now and again it would just fly into my back. Master Mouse, thank you very much, dude. Towards the end of that evening, we finished the stream and I was going to try and get it out of the house. And it had flown in between the cabinet and these shelves. And it was right down there at the bottom where all the wires are for the lights and everything. I was like, oh Christ, we'll just try and like get this thing out. Because it was flapping back and forth against the cabinet and the case, and I just didn't want it to like break itself, basically. So I went to go and get it, and it flew right up to the wall. And as it did, a fucking spider came out from behind those shelves and went for it. I'm like, Mothra, you're on your own. That's me done. Nope. Nope. And that was not a small moth. That was like 1.5 inches long. That Ninja Zerka, cheers for the follow. Welcome to the stream. So we're just working on these Blood Angels today. We've got another 5, 6, 7 to do some airbrush highlights with. And then we've got a fuckload of recessed shading to do with some Army Paint and Strong Tones. So we're going to try and get all that out of the way, and then we'll do something interesting. We've got a couple of faces that we can do. We could do some work on like a cloak or something like that if you want to see that on stream. So start having to think about what elements of a Marine, mostly the Indom Marines and the newer Vanguard Marines, what you'd like to see done. There's no freehand on this. Well, actually, that's a lie. There has been freehand. We did checkers on the whatchamacallits, Blade Jarvettes. Blood Angels are cool. They're just a really fun chapter. They look great on a table as well. The red, obviously, because I've chosen to do these in a way that retains the power of the red rather than leads off into orange. You see a lot of slightly orangey Blood Angels armies, or a lot of ever so slightly pink Blood Angels armies. But the way that we've done the red keeps it really bold. So, Fish, morning. Been off work all week and totally didn't realise it was Saturday. Only just rolled out of bed. Brilliant. Good morning, dude. Rival Sarah celebrated her birthday yesterday, so do hope you all gave us some birthday wishes. She sent me a message earlier on in the morning, like, great, you've just announced to the entire internet that it's my birthday and I'm another year older. Thanks, chum. She loved it. Birthday messages, always good. Also, don't forget, go and vote for those lists in the Streamiversary lists channel on Discord. A bit of an issue with this guy's face right now. What is it? Today we're just getting issues. I hope that doesn't bode well for the rest of the day. But any chance that the ancient, specifically the standard, we don't have an ancient in any of this actually. The commission got changed. It was originally the full Indomitus set plus some of these guys, I think. And then it changed entirely. We lost all of the characters apart from the lieutenant and the captain, and added in a load of infantry. So it's a shame because, well, for several reasons. The first one being that they're beautiful fucking minis. I love them. And the second one is that it just takes longer doing the infantry. The characters are just a fucking joy to paint, and you get lost in them, and the infantry is a little bit of a grind, but that's one of the things that you just live with when you're a commission painter. You either get the jobs that nobody wants to do because they're dull, i.e. here's an entire infantry army that I can't be asked to paint, or the jobs that nobody wants to do because they really don't want to paint that much white, such as the gargantuan Custodes army that we're painting in a couple of months. We've got a very, very big order to do. Woody1181, cheers for that follow. Thanks very much. Hey, I'm new to Warhammer. I used to watch my brother build and paint his, but never got into it myself until now. Any key pointers for a beginner? Yeah, absolutely. Like, I give the same one every time. And I'm always ever so slightly jealous of people that just get into the hobby, because for someone like me who's been in it since I was 8, with a couple of breaks, so over 20 years of actual hobby time and 30 years or so of seeing toy soldiers evolve, I'm kind of jaded by a lot of things. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's new and cool and exciting, but I've kind of been around the block and seen it. For someone like yourself that's brand new into it, you've got all of this exciting world to explore and to get to grips with. Don't feel that you need to have everything and paint everything and play every game. You might want to, and that's great. And I love that enthusiasm you get when you're brand new in. It's fucking ace. This thing that we do went from being a hobby to me to being my full-time job. But the biggest bit of advice I can give you is have fun with it. Don't stress. You're not going to be able to paint a masterpiece as your first miniature unless you've got some massive background in art and everything else, plus a buttload of natural talent. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about picking up every single paint out there. Pick up things like primary colours and learn to mix them. It makes your life easier having a lot of paints, especially if you know the army you're painting and the army you're playing is... I'm going to use a lot of this one colour, which is the right shade of red, for instance, for the armour I want to paint. Or I want to use this colour specifically for their cloth because it offsets the colour I've got for the armour. So enjoy it. Don't empty your bank account into buying hobby supplies and paints and stuff like that. And take everybody's advice as just advice, not as like by rote. For instance, I do a lot of things. Hey Tim, may not be online in the stream. Okay, dude, watch the VOD back to see your feedback. Essentially, in that case, But yeah, I do a lot of things with the airbrush that a lot of artists will say you shouldn't do, or that you can't do, is actually more often their phrase. Like, you can't do it like this doesn't work. And I have proved that wrong time and time and time again by proving that you can, and that it does, and that it's easy once you've had a bit of practice with it, and it creates phenomenal effects. And there's some very famous, very talented people that say you can't do this, and unfortunately all it really means is that they can't. And that's true for everybody that provides any kind of content, is there'll be things that they can do, things that they can't do, and they will pass that off to their viewer as you can't do XYZ. What I suggest is that you sort of absorb all of these things and take everyone's point of view and then just try all of it anyway and find what works for you. Painting minis is a little bit like working out in that regard. What one person does as their exercise regime might be perfect for them, but might do absolutely nothing for you, or even, in fact, be harmful for you. The same could be true for mini painting. But hopefully that's helped. Is there a particular game that you wanted to play? Like, what are you looking to get involved with? Myself, pretty much all about 40k. Love 40k. Like, use your thumb. Yeah. People will tell you cannot get the same control with your thumb instead of your finger. Well, I can. And I airbrush for sometimes, like, well, the longest it was 16 hours at a time on stream. So, Ventress! How you doing, bro? 14 months! Crazy. Cheers, brother. Much appreciated. Love the support. Did you decide on that army in the end? Did you get the crons? If so, you can paint along within the chronothon at the end of the month. Is that unusual someone's beaten to 40k purely for the art and designs? No. Not at all. The universe that we play our game in is so rich. I mean, there's nearly 40 years of story and imagination and effort gone into creating this incredible universe that we play our silly game in. So no, not at all. I know a lot of people that just paint. They don't play at all. They're not interested in the gaming side of things. Sometimes from the perspective of, look, I just like to paint what I like, and I don't want to paint an entire army of stuff, because some of it I'm not going to enjoy painting, and so therefore I'm not going to do it. Totally understand that. Totally understand that. Barnsley. Just done a commission for a guy in Barnsley. Danny, you're a fucking legend, mate. Getting some new guys sorted out with some minis. Love it. Oh, we got 69. Awesome. Wraith, what up? Finished the Eisenhorn trilogy audiobooks. Any recommendations for the next book? Have you read or listened to the fourth one, Xenos? Because I've got like 40 minutes left in the third Ravana book, and I fucking loved those books. They were brilliant. But I haven't got the Eisenhorn ones. I'm waiting for my free credits to sort of tick in and get all three of those, because I've got Xenos on sale. So I'm going to listen to the Eisenhorn ones and finish off with that. But the Ravana books are awesome. Really, really good. Crazy Fish, good. I'm glad you enjoy it, man. You know, Cron's on your advice, but don't get to the last weekend of the month. Last time converted the Silent King, because I'm a glutton for punishment. Brilliant. Zas was first. Hang on a minute. I'm not going to question you, but on Audible, I was pretty sure it said that that was a new book in the series. I've got so many fucking books on here. Yeah. Oh, sorry, the Magos, not Xenos. You are right. Apologies. But yeah, the Magos, Eisenhorn, Warhammer 40,000, Book 4. Haven't read this one, haven't listened to it. Oh, God. Ravener is great. You've met Ravener in the Eisenhorn books. And the series is fucking brilliant. You get fully into the characters. Dan Abner is obviously one of the best 40k authors. Him and Bowden are like the two. If you had to pick two people to write books, it would come down to those two. If you had to pick one, it'd be a hard fucking sell between the two, right? I'd probably go Bowden, because Dan Abnett writes very, very, very cool characters and very, very, very cool stories. But for me, Bowden just gets that emotive, like, fucking hook into you, and you want to keep reading it. Some of Dan's stuff can be a little dry, a little. But these are fucking great. Hail Vectron! Cheers for that follow and welcome to the stream. Right, so we've got 5 Assault Intercessors now to do. Should be able to rattle through these relatively swiftly. Doing the tip again. You're doing a gallery show until later. I'd love to get your feedback on my Kingfisher colour scheme. Wow, that sounds awesome. Yes, we will. We'll definitely be doing the whip gallery. So, exclamation point whip. If you'd like to submit something for our consideration, 3 picks or less, just so we can make sure we get round to everybody and we don't have anyone to too much sort of taking up the time and so on. It is a community thing. Let's be a community when we're doing it. But again, if you want to see how to paint these Blood Angels in the colour scheme that we're seeing, then exclamation point YouTube. The video went out yesterday. It's doing okay. In fact, that video must have been decent because I had to look at the... Someone subscribed and I thought, I'm sure I recognise that name. Clicked on it just to see his profile. Like, yep. It is. It's Sanger. He's like, I like Blood Angels. Let me see how Jay painted Blood Angels. So if you see a Tabletop Tactics painting video of Blood Angels soon, they look a little bit like this. Okay. First, Xenon. Nice, dude. Yeah, Eisenhorn's a fucking boss. I think I have to get the Eisenhorn model at some point, because we were talking last stream, I think, about my custom marine army that I'm doing for myself. We bought all the minis for it. We're doing them as a Deathwatch style army. They've got the Deathwatch shoulder pads, and they'll have the silver arm and so on to show that they're sworn to the Inquisition. And they'll be played as Deathwatch, but I'm not going to paint them as Deathwatch. They're not being painted black with all the different pauldrons for different chapters and so on. And the reason is behind that is so that they look like a cohesive Marine chapter, so I can play them as Space Marines, because now obviously the Marine Codex is what it is, and the supplement for Deathwatch basically means that you can play any Marines as any Marines now. I'm a big fan of Tabletop Tactics. I don't watch their battle reports anymore, because Beard and Bone, when they play, it's epic. As long... Oh, this is going to sound so shitty and judgmental, and I don't mean it to. Right, Beard and Bone are brilliant when they're together, as long as they're both having a good day. And I find it's normally Bone, that if Bone's having a bad day, then he either... I unintentionally brought a list that happens to be the hard counter too. And there were so many games that they played like that, where you just got fucking mullered in every time. Woody, 110. Oh, is that the... That's the 40k starter set, right? That's the small version that they do. But yes, definitely. You live in the UK, right? Exclamation point element. And you'll get a link to Element Games using my affiliate code. I tend to buy all of my 40k stuff from there. In fact, I tend to buy all of my Games Workshop stuff from there because they support a lot of the community as a whole. They sponsor streams, they sponsor tournaments and things like that, which I really, really like about them. And that's why they get my money instead of places like Dark Sphere and so on that just don't. I much, much prefer to give money back to people and support companies that are supporting the hobby that we all love. But you will get everything cheaper on Element over Games Workshop. So, Crazy Anked, nice one, dude. But yeah, I love watching Beard and Bone, as long as they're having a good day. And when they are, it's the best entertainment. It really is. It's on par, in my view, with getting Elliot going on Hellstorm Wargaming. And Elliot is absolutely one of the best people to watch. He's so funny. Like I've met Elliot several times. We went to Prague together. You know, he's a good guy, good friend. He's a fucking boss. He's very intelligent. He's very shy, so it doesn't always come across. But he is very, very intelligent, and he's fucking hilarious. Anything with him in, I will watch. The one he did, the battle report he and Valrak had, was not the best game ever in the world. Elliot isn't a 40k genius, and therefore does make some mistakes at the Elliot Ness. No, not Elliot Ness. Does make some mistakes at the tabletop and doesn't play with a killer instinct, shall we say. But he's fucking hilarious, and I love the man to bits. He is absolutely one of my favourite people I've ever met, let alone one of my favourite 40k people I've ever met. Have you listened to Warhams? I have listened to Warhams. I still haven't listened to the second one, though. I got about 10 minutes into it, and if something came up that I had to deal with, I haven't gone back. But yes, Lorehams, the Hellstorm lore podcast that's had 2 episodes and needs to have the 3rd one done, is fucking hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. What Reds are you using? Exclamation point YouTube, and you'll get a full workup on how to do your Blood Angels exactly like this dude. So this is the full armor. But bear in mind, there's actually no difference in that armor to what we've done here. There really isn't. It's just one's had recessed shades and a highlight on it, and everything else blocked in around it. That's all. But definitely a video worth watching, I think. Kato with Ramar. Probably. Yeah, probably. If anyone likes chocolate orange as a flavour, get the blood orange chocolate digestives. They are magnificent. Okay. To be Leech, the little spoiler, there was a Hellstorm battle report quite some time ago. Mikey was playing Magnus the Red and a few other chaosy things. Elliot was playing some Space Marines. And Elliot nearly shot Magnus off the board turn 1. It came down to the last couple of shots of his shooting phase. The camera had cut away and cut back, and it went, yeah, so I think I'm going to fire my Dreadnought's twin las cannons over there at that Rhino. Magnus is on like 3 wounds, but, you know, I'll deal with him next turn. Right. I know what's happened. And there may have been a please don't kill Magnus turn 1 because it's going to make the battle report really, really shit conversation that might have taken place. It's not all luck. Basie, how you doing, brother? But yeah. I think it's very rare when you play at a competitive level that luck is a factor in 40k. The Force Breaker, thank you for that, host. Should have killed in turn 1. Fuck, he should have killed in turn 1. I'd have punished that motherfucker. Like, you put Magnus in the open thinking you were going to get turn 1 and could buff the shit out of him. Nah, bro. Nah. You got greedy. Game over. But yeah, luck is usually something that you mitigate quite heavily. Oh, is that the little one? The Indom box contents one they did? Yes, he did. I love how this happens so much. So the internet and content creators in general, which is not to single out Mikey at all, because everyone does this. When something comes out, they take one look at the stats, and they're like, this is the greatest and most broken thing ever! Oh my god! Actually, it's not content creators. That's the fucking Warhammer community, I feel at times. And everyone was like, Outriders, these are amazing. These are the best thing in the book. These are fucking awesome. Look, everyone needs to have like 30 of these. Off you go now. Go and get them. And then the redaction video of, actually, I think you'll find that Eradicators are fucking disgraceful. Everyone needs to go out and buy 30 of these. Right now. What's the best thing to strip? GW Plastic. Biostrip. Biostrip 20. Element have started selling it. But check Amazon, because I've always bought it from Amazon Prime. And it was something like 16 quid for half a litre. But honest to God, it's great. Chuck your mini in it. Or dip it in and then leave it in a pot or whatever it is you want to do. And then just brush off some excess with a toothbrush. And then run it under the hot tap, give it a good scrub with a toothbrush, and you're sorted, mate. And that'll strip off primer and everything. Biostrip 20. BIOSTRIP 20. The trick is that you keep not taking into account how perceived threat level. Yeah. Kakita, I think you're absolutely right. The other thing is that people look at stuff in a vacuum, and what they don't then think about is how it interacts with other things, including, for instance, your opponent's army interacting with it. A lot of people look at stuff and go, oh my god, this is brilliant. When I shoot it in my shooting phase, because they've made it that far, it's going to do this much damage. Because I'll give it captain rerolls, lieutenant rerolls, this rerolls, that rerolls. And alright, that's really, really good. Where's all that in relation to the objective? That's what wins you the game. People very, very frequently don't think about that. There's a guy in the SN chat that I'm in. So anyone that's been to No Retreat, you'll have an invitation to join like an exclusive chat that's essentially you and some really, really good hobbyists. Kenichiru? Something along those sorts of lines, I guess. Thank you for the follow. Sorry for butchering your name. And there's a guy that is always making lists, and he's about to start his 7th attempt at a marina. I'm not joking. He buys a full army, literally writes a list, buys an entire army, and a week later the whole thing's on eBay. What the shit? But that's what he does. That's what he does. Anyway, he wrote a list, and I'm like, that's really cool. He's like, yeah, it's so sick, it's so disgusting, it's so disgraceful. I'm like, well, it's not really. I mean, yes, it is. I've got 3 dreadnoughts, and I've got 3 eradicators in there. You know, this is just absolute filth. Like, no, it. What are you gonna play him as? Iron Hands. You need way more dreadnoughts for that list for a start. It's not that disgusting, mate. Like, yeah, I've got heavy intercessors. They're amazing. Like, they're good. They really are good. You're right. What are you going to use to screen with? Well, I mean, oh, I need a screen. I just blow off the table. Oh my god. What secondaries were you planning on taking? Oh, I haven't really thought about that. Okie dokie. And this is what happens for most hobbyists. Most people that love playing 40k. Studio J7? Hello? Everyone, give that man a follow. He is an absolute boss. How are you doing, champ? Dave MC 1310, cheers for that follow. Welcome to the stream. James, Jay, Studio, Mr. 7. How's your weekend going, brother? Mr. 7. Mr. 7, that sounds awesome. Sounds like a comic book, not quite supervillain, but I think Mr. 7 would be like the supervillain's top henchman. Augur bro, just finishing work, I thought I would drop by and say hello. Nice, man. Hello. I can do my secondaries for my Necrons more on what my opponent is playing. Absolutely, but going into a game with Space Marines, you've got some amazing secondaries that are just in your books now. And so things like Oath of Moment it's an auto-include. It really is. You're almost never going to get 15 points out of it, though there are definitely lists that you can tailor your way towards to get those 15 points. But you're going to get a really, really solid 10 to 12 every single game. Every single game. Danny, cracking well done. Mindis, thank you for that sub. That's AJ Sadler giving one out. Absolute boss. AJ, we are taking a little break from your mini today, just because yesterday I kind of got carried away with doing things other than painting Blood Angels, so we just want to have a bit of focus on those today. There you go, Mindis. There's your meeps. Exclamation point win and exclamation point mystery. For reasons why it's always good to be a subscriber here. But yes, you have to consider your secondaries when writing the list, and people don't. And that's the difference between a competitive player and a hobby player. And there's nothing wrong with being a hobby player at all. But I am someone that really, really likes going to tournaments. And I'm so gutted that the tournament season last year was obviously neutered. Because I feel I still would have retained my place as world #1 night player. We missed it by 4 points, maybe 5 points. because the other guy went to more GTs than I did. That was it. Literally it. So, here's what it is. Of course, when you live out in Murica, where they don't believe in social distancing, you know. You also have to have backup picks based on opponent's list and deployment maps. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I have some bad news about the tournament season this year. Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna look good, but hey. My friend has dared to bring the lewd elves to at least one event. Already got it approved for one event, but maybe because I know most people going. Great. I mean, each their own, man. I'm going to feel weird shaking your hand at an event. Bring that sanitizer. Oh. God, I can't wait. Can't wait. It's going to happen this year. We'll be able to have tournaments, I'd hope, by the end of the year. If nothing else, I know there's a lot of organisations that will have issues continuing on if they're not able to run an event. I have a BA commission coming up. So great to see you're still playing through 30 pink horrors. Nice, dude. Nice. Well, if you want to... I know you and I paint using very different methods at times. But we've just finished a tutorial on YouTube on how to paint your armor. That's one of the finished Blade Guard veterans. Looking like a fucking boss. We've got a YouTube tutorial on how to do that. There's a Patreon tutorial coming next week for how to do all of the other elements of the mini. So not the armor, but the things like your robes, your cloth. How to get your decals down without them looking like they're decals. Sir Gandhi, thanks for the follow. Not so nice, so much pink. I quite like them. Honestly, I'd quite happily paint a big old batch of pink horrors. But for me, it's very much a case of get the airbrush out, probably lay down some Zenithal under highlights. Probably do a very dark but rich purple, so not desaturated, just dark purple coming from underneath. Pile a load of white ink over the top of that, and then work up some pinks, hit the recesses, and probably even do that with oils just to speed through it. But that's one of the best things about the miniature painting community. I bet your process is absolutely night and day different to that. So, can you convert a Tomb Sentinel into a Tomb Stalker? I have no idea what any of those things are. Please, just because perhaps 30% of US people don't follow how. Oh, dude, totally. Wamposaurus, like 100%. I know it's a minority of people, but I was very surprised to see. I can't remember where I was looking. It might have been Secret Weapon Miniatures, actually. On their website, they were talking about convention support, and they said, currently, we're not offering convention support, because we're not going to conventions. Can the rest of you please stop going to conventions? The fact that there's still things like that happening every now and again, it surprises the hell out of me. Over here, we're not even really allowed to leave the house. Obviously, for emergencies, or for seeing people, like the one person that might be in your support bubble, or for doing things like grocery shopping, where you're only really meant to send one person. Based in layering 4-layer workups per mini. Damn. Yeah, I'm sure your way looks great. My way is going to be quicker. Might not look as good at the end, but, you know, definitely a fun way. People are going to be people. People will always be people. I've found that in most cases, people will always be idiots rather than people first, which is a shame. But hey. hopefully this year, like we said, we'll get tournaments back on. I don't actually know how many tournaments I've already got tickets for. Because I bought them all pre-COVID, and I bought some during COVID, like the LGT, once they changed their date. I've even got international tournament tickets. So, you know. I keep headspace swapping Tomb Sentinels and Tomb Stalkers. Okay. I'm not surprised. Oh, Jesus, nightmare. That, forgive the pun, but that sounds like a nightmare. Oh, I've been fortunate. I haven't had it. I've had friends that have had it. But I've followed all the guidelines. I go out for exercise. I walk either by myself or with my other half. She's now had her stage 1 vaccine a couple of weeks back. So, you know, she's in a place where she's going to be relatively protected. She works with adults and teenagers with some sort of disability. So it could be physical or mental. And her job is to get them into work. So she does like work placements for people that have got various sort of barriers of entry to work, whether it's someone that is physically very disabled or someone that's mentally a little bit disabled. And so obviously as a frontline worker, she was one of the first people in the queue. Yeah, it does look like it's going to be 2022. I'd love to do Adepticon, because I really desperately want to go to Chicago. Out of all the places in the US, admittedly, Chirac is not usually people's top holiday destination, but for me, I've always wanted to go. I've got a load of friends that live out there that I met through the cigar world, and the sort of mob town history of Chicago always really kind of interested me. So, admittedly, there's a lot of places in Chicago that you don't necessarily want to go, but it's the same in any big city. So, you won the first case in the USA. Jesus. That's crazy, man. But yeah, I really want to go. So Adepticon would definitely be on the list. We've got tickets for the LVO. Obviously, shame that didn't happen, but as soon as the pandemic was the pandemic, it was obvious it wasn't going to happen. Which is why when we all bought our hotel tickets, a buddy put it all on his credit card, knowing that it was okay, and he's always going to get that refund. And we bought tickets specifically, like hotel room tickets that were refundable up to late January, just in case. So, God, I can't wait. Big Mech Dan Skull, thanks for that raid, dude. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for bringing your community over here. Get some love in the stream. Get a shout out if we've got any mod that might be about. How you doing? How is your stream? Daka Flame, love that name. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Big Mac, let me give you a follow. What were you working on today? What was your stream? Boom. That's that follow button. Enjoy what? Okay. We're lucky flights were given back in voucher. The hotel was sorted by Recess Brothers for not paying. Okay, sweet. Sweet. As one of the biggest sprawls I've ever seen, Chicago City, New York, and I see compared to size of Jacksonville. Really? I mean, maybe in the US, but certainly if you went out to like Seoul or something, it is. All of South Korea is basically a city, and you'll go from like Seoul to Incheon, which is like the next city over, without actually leaving a city. It's madness. I've had friends that went out there to play esports full time, and they said it feels weird, the fact that you never really see countryside, normal, not city bit. Great cheers, dude. We're working on some flash kits at the minute. I'm gonna get them finished by tomorrow. Nice, dude. Are you doing them like proper pirates, or have you got your own little scheme? I always like the flash kits minis. I preferred them way more to the looters, but of course you only ever really see looters. Bet you anything though, new Orc Codex comes out and it's still all going to be about vehicles, like speed war stuff. But I bet you anything, flash kits get a buff and looters get left behind a little. Right, because this guy's a sergeant, we're just trying to get the highlights and the armor trim for the shoulder pads rather than the shoulder pads themselves. We don't care if we spill over on the shoulder pad, we're going to paint that black. But it just means that our focus for our highlight is a little different compared to the other dude. There we go. Right, I think we're done. Yeah, we're all done. So let's flush the airbrush out, give it a quick wash. Keep it pretty piratical. Nice. Rebelson, look at you airbrushing, always been no end. Sorry, bro. Spent 3 hours yesterday blending and layering one blood in a Terminator, and I'm not done yet. It's all about practice. So, you know the old expression, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. That's how it starts out. You start off trying to keep everything smooth and controlled and practiced. You know, get all those nice lines and fades and everything, you know. Yeah, well, sorry, so I'm not saying that Seoul is the biggest city. I'm saying that in South Korea, you'd end up literally not leaving a city because one city is right next to the other city. So it feels very much like the entire place is like that. But yes, you start off, everything is very slow. You know, you've got to get used to it. And then something happens. You get the like Neo moment where he understands that he is the one. And you're like, no. Next thing you know, you're drop kicking Dr. Smith down the fucking hallway. Dr. Smith? Where did that come from? Agent Smith. Dude, I get how big LA is, alright? Thank you. I did need to understand that. You're correct. Just because I live on a tiny little island. Like, here's the thing that amazes me every time I think about it, right? Texas is 5 times the size of the UK. The US has roughly 5 times the population of the UK. You could all live in Texas if you wanted the same population density that we've got. You know, that's the one thing that's keeping me going, or I'll just cut my losses at this point. No, honestly, bro, it takes time. Everything in life, not painting, but in life, that is worth doing takes time. You have to hone a craft. If it was easy, all right. If it was all a piece of piss and didn't take effort and didn't take any real like skill or time investment to learn, then you wouldn't get any sense of achievement out of doing it at all. and so it wouldn't be as fun. But when you do something that is perceived, at least, as being really hard and really tough to do, and you smash it, it's a great feeling. And you're always chasing that feeling, that, like, got it feeling. Good news, should be closing on the house next week. Yes, dude! Nice work. You are light years ahead of me on the property ladder. Right, we need some strong tone. Anyone that's not tried Army Painter washes, you are missing out. The GW washes, frankly, are, for the most part, terrible. Yeah, they're not anything like as good as these. So give them a try. Also, these are cheap AF as well. Like, this is something like £2.30. GW pots, and then the bigger pots, I think, for washes, aren't they? They're like £6 for not even twice the amount you get in here. So definitely worth it. Ooh, what's for lunch? What's for lunch? That's the important question. Alright, we're going to use a synthetic brush for our recess shading. There's a big reason for this. Because it's a synthetic brush and not a sable brush like the Kolinsky sable that my Winsor & Newtons are made up out of. The capillary action that this has is way less. Honestly, way less. Studio J7, if you haven't tried them, they do a wash set, which I think you can get off Element. You can certainly get off Amazon. It's about £20 for 10 washes, so it's a massive saving. And you will use all of them. Dark Tone is life. That's their black wash. It takes Nuln Oil out into the car park and beats it to death with a shoe. You know, Nuln Oil is nothing in comparison to that. It's just, you tell the average hobbyist, we're going to use this Army Painter wash, and they're like, oh, I don't use that cheap stuff. I use Games Workshop washes. Like, yes, and you shouldn't. Their paints are the opposite end of the scale. their paints are cheaply made. Their paints are worse than Games Workshop paints by far. But their washes are amazing. Their primer isn't bad. It's cheaper than GW stuff, but if you're looking for a spray primer, Halford's is probably the best one out there. Could it spin on me as good as Nuln Oil? No, because look, they come pre-made in dropper bottles, and so you go, oh no, and you know what the biggest shame about this is? Not if I not spill anything, I haven't got a photo to put on Reddit. Halford's plastic primer is good. I tend to use their grey if I ever need to spray anything. In fact, we got given a can by our print you one. No, by Too Many Sprues for a Christmas gift. This is some useful stuff. The only thing I dislike about it, and this is just purely my own prejudice, is it comes out a bit fierce. Like, it comes flying out of there. Plank Walker, take care, man. So when you're spraying on a Mini, be careful of that. But here's why we're using synthetic brushes. You get less paint, or wash in this case, on your brush. And so you've just got a little bit more precision, he says, completely spooging it on the Mini at that point. Which makes your life easier. Because we don't want to do an all-over wash on any part of this. We just want to paint those recesses. That's going to give us definition. When you use an airbrush, it applies a thin coat, but it applies that thin coat all over the surface. And that includes these little recesses. Now, it doesn't get in there quite as much, but it... 14 bases to get done. Nice. Well, you have fun, dude. Thanks for dropping by, and thank you again for that host. If you guys don't already follow Studio J7, you really need to. He, to me, is at least one of the sort of OG mini painters on Twitch, so definitely give that guy some love. Follows are free, as he is well known to say. Awesome, man. No oils on a B8? No. Thought about it, and nearly did. The only reason I didn't is because we did oils on the Dark Angels, and I wanted a different tutorial. That's it. Obsidian Hex, cheers for that follow. And this step doesn't take too long. This is slightly more like long-winded than doing it by oils, obviously, but it's a lot quicker than doing your sort of all over shade and then repairing all of that shade to get yourself your highlights and stuff back. That repairing work takes way too long. So just recess shading, pin washing, panel lining it's sometimes called, but that's normally when you're using like a black wash to get really, really, really stark lines in there. But this is quick. You know, it doesn't take forever. You've got a lot of this to do. You wouldn't call yourself an OG? Well, you might not, but to me, you were one of the successful streamers before I started streaming. So to me, you're an OG. But yeah, if you do all of these recess shades, and you need to paint in my style, you can do less highlighting, and the highlighting is the part that is usually the slightly more stressful element. End of the day, if you slip a little with your shade, then you've got a little dark spot to do some battle damage. If you slip with your highlight, quite often you have to repair that. Now my style of painting, if we grab that blade guard back out, does old G stand for old git? I mean, in this case it might, but no. You can see that we've got very small highlights on these bottom edges, and we certainly haven't drawn boxes around things a la the heavy metal style. That's not how I paint at all. I really dislike that. Nothing in real life looks like that. And so by adding in every single recess shade, we don't need to do all of those highlights to show off the detail of our minis. And that's where that painting style originally came from. GW, as a manufacturing company, needed their paint style to show off all the detail that they were getting in their miniatures that some other manufacturers weren't getting in theirs. They had to showcase their skill, basically. And so if every bit of detail gets a line drawn around it, you can't help but see the detail. Now you don't have to do that anymore, because there are gold stripes on the helmets. Okay, so you can see we've got a red helm with a gold stripe. This is something the client wanted. We're going to do full gold on the captain and lieutenant. And we're going to do blue stripes on the eradicators. That's what Wraith wanted. That's what Wraith gets. If I'm honest, I quite like it. But I know a lot of people that are Blood Angels players that I've shown this to, and they've got super fucking triggered by it. And very protective of the... Well, it should be a gold helmet. I mean, there's no should be. Yeah, there's in the codex, it says, why don't you paint this bit gold, basically. Don't have to. But it's an iconic part of their color scheme, and it turns out that people are weirdly protective about some of that stuff. Bizarrely, one of the main critics of it is a guy who paints his Blood Angels in what isn't actually red, but is in fact actually pink. When you get up close, you suddenly realise that they are a kind of slightly red magenta. And he was super critical of it. He's like, well, it's not the Codex way, therefore it's not right. I'm like, alright, listen, Mr. Pink Angels. I get that and I hate that. Your minis, you paint how you want. Yeah, exactly, right? Obsidian Hex, peace out, man. Thanks for joining. See you again, hopefully. But I've had other commission painters say, well, you know, sometimes you've just got to manage your client a bit better. I'm like, listen, prick. I'm not going to sit here and say to the guy, I think you're wrong. I'm going to say to the guy, sure, I can make that work. And I think I've made it work. We've definitely got something that is ever so slightly unique. You don't see this very often. And so it'll make it stand out from the rest. Also, whilst I might be an arrogant prick about most things, I'm just calling the facts here at this point, right? I think most people can agree with that, unfortunately. I'm certainly not going to tell somebody what he can and cannot like. That's bigotism, you know? After painting over 850, there is no right way in everything. Is that how many minis you've painted? I think last year I think it was 467 last year. You have 850 Blood Angels. Damn, man. Nearly a full chapter. Come on. Get that finished off. Got to get the whole set. Am I really? I mean, I definitely am. I think arrogance is fine. As long as it is arrogance and not cockiness. There's nothing wrong with being arrogant. Don't temper it. You know. Don't have to put that part of your personality on display at all times. But as long as you can back it up, that's fine. That's arrogance. As soon as you can't, and you're just spouting shit, then that's cockiness, and that's not right. There are more codes complaint than most chapters. I don't think they're any more or less codex compliant than most chapters, if I'm honest. Like, the majority of chapters aren't things like your Black Templars or your Space Wolves that just don't give a shit. The majority of them have 1,000 infantry, plus like some auxiliaries and stuff that go in there, that are split into 10 companies. I think most chapters follow that line. You know, do a chapter based on Codex, no Primaris, nothing wrong with them, just old school. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them, mate. You know, and there's nothing wrong with the old Marines either. I think they look grand, especially the more up to date sculpts of them. You know, they're really good. We'll agree to disagree on that. That's my arrogant side coming out. Big Bear 13, cheers for that follow. Welcome to the stream, dude. Hey, I didn't say it was a desirable personality trait, right? That's the difference. Alright, one down, many to go. But I really like these minis, these are cool. God, I can't even see that. Blows raspberries, brilliant. Right, this guy's the Sarge. Yeah, I really enjoyed putting these together. I've got some of the other ones to go in my army. My Death Watch. These dudes. I think I preferred these out of the two. But I kind of like the new Phobos Marines. I think they look really, really cool. My only issue with these is that quite frequently, I don't know if you've noticed this, if you turn them upside down, you see a face the other way up in this. The Lieutenant is a pretty big example of that. Don't know why. It's just where they got those like forehead wrinkles that look like mouths. Itchy nose. But hey, what are you guys painting anyway? All right, who's doing some hobby? I know Studio J7's doing his bases. What about everybody else? What you got on your hobby desk at the moment? I know most people that are sat here are probably working away, so if you're lurking, don't you worry. I have to do the same when I'm in other people's streams. If I start talking, i.e. typing, I'm never going to get any work done. So I sit there very quietly. Just finished up some Hell Blasters before hopping on. Nice. Nice. Just starter pack. Just open one. Here we go. Awesome, mate. In the hobby kitchen cooking breakfast. Got an omelette. Nice. Very nice. Burning More Alliance open terrain kits. Oh, yeah. We're going to do our terrain day. Probably in spring because it'll be nice and warm but not too hot. We're going to do a weekend stream where we take some of this kit outside onto the patio. And we're going to do an entire table's worth of Necron terrain in red marble using spray cans. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be so awesome. I'm really looking forward to doing it. I'm really looking forward to having a full table's worth of Necron terrain to go with my Necron army. But it's going to be a fun stream. It's going to be a fun stream. Paint the Tactical Warsuit. Love the Invicta. Really like the Invicta. Leech doing some basing. Darren's got 5 devs. Mephi. So going to win hand sanitizer strip paint. Okay. Purple Power. Yeah, I've heard about that a lot. That's a US thing. That and Simple Green are like 2 mainstream chemicals that you guys can use to strip paint. Over here we used to use Dettol, but honestly it's so much work using Dettol to strip anything. I love the smell. I genuinely love the smell. What you can use, Darren, is BioStrip 20. I've been using that for several years, and Element have started like picking it up. And honestly, it's really, really good. It's kind of fire and forget. Rival Sarah, how you doing? How is your birthday? Hope you had a good time. Get to anything fun at all? I know that's slightly tricky these days. You know, can't really go out or anything, but there are still ways. IPA, yeah, that works. You'll bang on, but in work. Only what I had. Fair. Yeah, love the smell of Dettol. Fucking great. Bartolene Clean Spirit. You can use it on resin for how long you want. Fair. I've not used that one before. Used to use it for like cleaning house brushes and stuff when we were painting. But what's the other one that? So I once stripped a mini. This is no word of a lie, but it sounds like bullshit. I appreciate. I once stripped a mini using Tesco Value Coke. It was a metal mini, right? But Tesco's is like a cheap enough supermarket. It's kind of like a middle of the road supermarket over here in the UK. For it doesn't use that. Sorry, it doesn't know that name. And they have their own like in-home range of anything. And Coca-Cola, they have their version of Snubsy21. Cheers for that follow and welcome. And yeah, like, I used Tesco value Coke. I threw a mini in a pint glass of that and sealed it so it wouldn't go flat. And left it in there for a week, and when it came out, just toothbrushed off and got rid of the paint. It worked. Now, for 19 pence for 2 litres of that, that's some pretty cost-effective paint stripper right there. Thank you. Yeah, good day. Thanks. Me and Mini-Me had lunch with my Papa Rival and had a sesh in their hot tub. Nice. Mini Rival went all evil Knievel in the water, and despite never having a swimming lesson, was convinced she could swim. Most stressful hot tub experience ever. Last night I got gin, drunk, and watched film. Nice. Then he drank the Coke. Diddy hell. And you don't waste whiskey by putting Coke in it. Absolutely not. That's heresy. That's a banning. Sounds good, Sarah. I'm glad you had a good weekend, a good birthday bit. Hopefully, you're gonna have a good birthday weekend. You got plans? I assume it's probably stuck in the Bat Cave now, but. Never had Blacktooth Grin, Jack and Coke. Look, Jack Daniels isn't whiskey. I don't care what people say. I don't care how protective you get around it. This is coming from someone that's happily going to sit there and drink bourbon later on today. I can't be dealing with Jack Daniels. It's not nice. For bourbon over whiskey, so both are good for me. Both are good for me. Part 3, fuck's sake. Like, I've got a bottle of Eagle Rare. I've got the dregs, like the last drop of a bottle of Four Roses single barrel. I've got some Pike Creek, which is kind of Canadian whiskey. It's not really bourbon, but it's kind of along the same sort of lines. But then we've got some Glenfarclas 15, some 18-year-old... I can't remember what it's called. No, completely gone. Some Pendarin, some Japanese whiskey. Then we've got some Bullet as well. Missed that. You know, I will drink both. They're good. Oh, mate, we've had Yamazaki and its 12 year and the Hakushu and the something Toshi. I want to say. Yeah, love some Japanese whiskey, you know. But I'm quite happy to drink whiskey with an E and whiskey without an E. They're both good, but there are definitely elements of both that are bad. Like something like Grant's is technically a Scotch whiskey. But it's fucking terrible. Whereas something like Glenfarclas is a phenomenal Scotch. Something like Talisker, for those that like peat, phenomenal. But you definitely get opposite ends of those spectrums. I'm not so into peaty Scotches. I prefer my Speyside stuff because I like that slightly sweeter taste. But if I ever want to have a peaty Scotch, then something like a Lafroig, that's where I'd go to. Jack Daniels. In fact, I've got a very small 50ml bottle of Jack Daniels there, and I made something. What did I make that I wanted to put bourbon in? I forget. I can't remember what it was, but whatever it was, I looked at this bottle of Jack Daniels and went, no, I can't even cook with that shit. You ever had Crown Royal? I haven't. Then you just chuck a dash of lemonade and anything to dilute the twang eye. Brilliant. Springburn? No, that's a new one for me as well. But there's a lot of really good stuff out there. You've just got to sort of go and look for it and be open to some different tastes. current release on your list of whiskey to try. I've been told, and didn't it win the whiskey awards about 7-8 years or so ago? It's the one that comes in like the purple bag, right? And I'm reasonably sure it's Canadian. Reasonably. Cheesecake base? No, it wasn't a cheesecake. Something I cooked over Christmas. Oh, I can't remember. I know it's something I cooked over Christmas because Jackie was here, and that's the last time she was here was Christmas because I don't want her going on public transport to come over here just because of the, obviously the world being the world right now. And so whenever we see each other, it's because I've gone to hers to stay. So it would have been something that I did. Oh, that was it. It was the peppercorn sauce. Did steak au poivre. And in the peppercorn, there was no way I was going to put Jack Daniels in that to go on the steaks that were the most beautiful, beautiful rib. Mm. Mm. So this is why we need the pandemic over, Sarah, so you can come and have steak at Jay's. We'll play Zombie Side in the evening or something. You can bring the rum. I'm not so into flavoured whiskies. Jim Beam Honey, I think, is alright. It's a little harsher than the Jack Honey. I prefer that. That's okay. Port and Stilton sauce, nice. But I've got a palate that I've spent years educating, and so therefore I get flavour come out of like normal whiskey. I don't need a diluted whiskey with like apple flavouring. Like Applejack was just fucking rank. I got given some of that at a mate's house, however long ago that might have been. I have no idea why he drank that. It's like pop. But yeah, that's not my bag. I'd rather have something that's quality rather than anything else. How many of you have an infinity bottle? No idea. Mead. I like mead. Big fan of that. We've almost always got some of that in the house. And almost always got some cherry mead as well. Ben and I, both big fans. I haven't had Makers in a very long time. In fact, the last Makers I had was the Makers 46, I think. That's decent. I'm just wondering how many people are in the chat right now going, I just drink, like, what's that horrible kiddie cider? Old Moot, something like that. 4060 OG recipe. Oh, okay. Fair. No, so you mean like a homegrown Solara vat then? So a Solara vat is where in whiskey creation usually, but sometimes rum and everything else as well, they have a vat that they keep pouring stuff into to try and get a similar flavour profile. Glenfiddich do a 15-year Solara, and that's the only Glenfiddich that I actually like. The rest of it tastes like licking a fucking stick off a campfire. And it's not even good if you like that kind of very smoky, oaky whiskey. it's just not good. Not really. But their Solara is really nice. You get this flavour of like vanilla and raisins and stuff like that, and that's really, really good. Sarah, I have totally not told anyone about that. I said that in a very, like, I have told people about it way. I might have hinted strongly at it, but I haven't told anyone about that. But I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, I get it, Nightmare. I don't, but that's normally because the stuff I buy, and not to sound like I'm putting on airs or anything, I buy quality over quantity. And so I'll make a couple of bottles of whiskey last me sort of 6 months. And we'll slowly build up a collection of booze over that length of time. So I've always got different things to try. But I find that I've bought these things I specifically like that flavour. And I guess there's a little bit of fear of ruining it by putting it into something else. So. Okay. So Sarah, when are we going to get these pigments? This is the important question now. You've just announced it in stream. There we go. World exclusive Rival Crafts release. Heard it here first, folks. When are we going to get them? That's the question. And Jan is here as well. How are you doing, brother? There's another OG. If you guys aren't following Jan, you need to be. How are you doing, sir? I've seen Beer 52, but most of the stuff they put in their boxes are stuff that I wouldn't want to drink. Just my own personal preference. Jan will back me on this one. He and I, we're both stout drinkers. We like those proper, thick, almost an adult milkshake made out of beer. Yeah. Super good. Last night I had a stout, which I didn't... It's not I didn't enjoy it, it's just... This is the first time I've had a stout from this company, and it's not tasted like exactly what it says on the can, which was Amundsen, which is a Dutch brewery, and it was a marzipan chocolate shortbread imperial stout at about 10 and a bit %. And normally their stuff tastes like exactly what it says on the tin, and I couldn't taste anything really out of this. I certainly didn't get shortbread. There was a little sweetness that could have been almond that was, I suppose, where the marzipan bit comes from. And there was a little chocolate, but nothing. Just tastes like a decent steak. That's all. It's just nothing there. Turn with food: eggy, cheesy, mushroom, onion burrito. Oh yes, yes. But yeah, love stouts. I'm waiting for the Founders KBS to be released over here, which is only about a week or so away, and that stuff is fucking spectacular. It's like the cheapskates version of Bourbon County Barrel Stout, and to be fair, it's about a third of the price, so that's not a bad description of it. Doing grand, thanks. Bit of lunch, then back to the brushes. Had 2 cracking stouts yesterday: peanut butter chocolate one and a tiramisu one. Which was the tiramisu one? Because I've got a really good one from, I think it's the London Beer Factory. That's a banger. It's an absolute belter. Picture in the back cave. You're currently patching fines on the labels on, creating warning/user labels so in a few weeks it looks smart. Oh yes, looking forward to it, Sarah. Meatball sub with ghost pepper. Fuck no. Whew. Too much for me, bro. I like spicy food, but my tolerance has dropped substantially from when I used to run a Mexican restaurant years ago, and I can't handle that shit anymore. And you can take that exact phrasing however you want. I don't mind. Tiramisu was Panda Nera from Brew Brewery. Oh, nice, dude. Vietnamese coffee. I fucking love Vietnamese coffee, actually. That is coffee that is not good for you. By a long stretch. But God almighty, is that tasty. Oh, had that for the first time in Jib, actually. A group of us. Do you guys follow Twisted Dice? There's a guy that occasionally plays on their channel, Tristan Whitehead. One of the best Chaos players in the UK. Knows his shit. Has played Chaos for fucking years. But yeah, he's really good. He, myself, his mate Chris, and a friend of ours all went out for a Vietnamese meal on the last day. Had a pho that was really good. It was clear. I remember looking at it thinking, oh, this is going to have no flavour whatsoever. And Chris had the same thing. We both tucked in and like, this is so good. So good. Had 3 cups of Vietnamese coffee this morning. It's like, Jesus. Like, done the proper way with like the condensed milk that you could probably stand something in. Also, Cuban coffee. Mwah. Mwah. Proper Cafe Cubano. Like, and cafecito. Oh, Christ, yes. I'm like a 2 cup of coffee a day, man. That's it. And not normally after midday. But, oh, Christ. When you make coffee like that, you don't need more than 2 a day. You're done. Done properly in a mocha pot. It's the shit. And the thing to do with it, yeah, exactly that, Nightmare. I do it ever so slightly differently. Like, out of the mocha pot, the first bit that comes out goes onto a teaspoon. That goes into a metal jug where you cream that with about 4 teaspoons of sugar. And then the coffee goes into it afterwards. You get this unbelievably thick, beautiful creamer. My God, that's the shit. But I learned that way of doing it when I was in Cuba. And, just fucking insanely good. You had to Cuba? Yeah, man. 10 days. Nearly 2 weeks. Went to Havana for 5 days. And the woman I was with, which is now my ex-wife, we went out there for like a... It was essentially just a long holiday. And it was meant to be 10 days in Havana. But Flick was someone that was very timid. Very shy. And so she didn't like the somewhat aggressive friendliness that a lot of the Cuban people have. Like, they love tourists out there because tourists equals money, right? Jaeger, how you doing, man? Morning headache. Oh, unlucky, bro. Get some coffee down you, get a couple of pints of water and you'll be fine. But yeah, the Cuban people love tourists. Now, I looked basically the same as this, but the beard was probably just a chin strap, really, rather than, like, the beard. And I was about 40 pounds lighter. But anybody that I saw, they're like, oh, where are you from, man? I'm like, yeah, I'm from England. Oh, England, yeah, Ali G, Boyakasha. And I couldn't be further from fucking Ali G than, like, opposite ends of that spectrum, bro. Yeah. So, you say tourists are easy marks. Most tourists are easy marks. I'm not a mark at all. Anyway, we both had days where we were not feeling particularly well. Like, you look so much like him. I know, right? Yeah, all of them. They all know Ali G. They fucking love Ali G. Sacha Baron Cohen obviously had a big impact on the Cuban market. But yeah, I had a day where I literally couldn't leave the hotel room because you can't drink the water out there. It's not good for you, and we didn't. But I think I ended up with like brushing my teeth out of the tap just by instinct one night, and just got ill, you know. And it was a full experience of being ill, and you can read into that if you want. But essentially, I couldn't leave the hotel room, so Flick went and sort of stayed in the lobby a little bit. She didn't really go out by herself, and then she had a day that was similar, and I'm like, right, cool, I'm off. Like, you're gonna stay there, and I'm gonna go and wander around. And this is what I like to do when I go on holiday. I like to go to places where you don't hear English anymore and wander around and see what it's actually like there. Merrill Tim, that's a good point. Yeah, it could have been. Could have been. Were you wearing yellow and sunglasses? No, I was not wearing yellow at all. So I walked probably like 4 miles away from the hotel, and we were staying in the best, what was at the time the best hotel in Cuba, something star, Iberostar star, I want to say. Or was that where we stayed in Dubai? I think it was the Park Central. But anyway, I just kept walking until there was nobody speaking English. And until I started getting not weird looks, but looks of like, what's the gringo doing here? And I stopped off, bought a Bucanero, which is a really nice dark beer they have out there. I was smoking a stogie, and just clearly chilling out, no threat to anyone. I ended up walking down a Park Central. Yeah, that was it. Ended up walking down a street way out of town. And I knew this was the wrong part of town because there was a bit of a different vibe. And there were people at the side of the road with machine guns. And that was interesting. And there were people trying to sell me various drugs and women. And I've always found that the best thing to do in those situations is just to be completely calm and polite and sort of brush it off as if this is what happens to you on a daily basis. Right? No, I'm good. You know where I went. Yeah, very possibly, man. I don't know where I went. I just know it was a good hour and a bit's walk directly in one direction. So if you know where I went, I'd fucking love to know. But yeah, nobody bothered me. Nobody gave me any hassle because clearly I was in the wrong part of town. You found the fun part, yeah. But also, I'd like to think that I'm someone that just looks like too much hassle to deal with. Not someone that you couldn't deal with, for definite, because certainly nowadays I'm out of shape. Like, we're not at a fighting weight at all, and we're well out of practice. I'm a lot slower now than I used to be, that's for damn sure. But your return on investment isn't going to be worth it. Right? No, I just wouldn't anyway. That's not really my bag. We talked about that last stream, bizarrely. But you're probably not going to get much out of it, and it's probably going to be a lot more effort than you actually want to put into it. And so I always feel completely safe and just at ease in those areas. I just do. Ricky Fatton. Well, not quite. I'm just under 15 stone. So we're like 14, 12 and a bit, I think, at the moment. And my ideal weight to look, not trim because I haven't got the time to go to the gym. And obviously you can't right now. And I've, if I'm frankly just honest, I don't have the inclination anymore. When I was in my 20s, and I really gave a shit about how I looked, we used to train 15 hours plus a week. looked pretty good. When I was wrestling, obviously we were training every fucking day, then wrestling, and then training in the evening because you had nothing else to do because you were poor as shit. So you may as well train. And obviously I was in great shape, and that helped with the cage fighting and so on. But these days, I've got too much painting to do is my excuse. Weight and stones, eye roll. Deal with it. Shit comment in chat. Eye roll. Like, I don't know what you want from me, bro. Times it by 14, you'll be okay. But yeah, I could do with losing some weight. We've been on a diet for a little while. It's working. It's coming off slowly. We do a lot of walking. Jackie and I probably walked about 18 miles last week. We'll probably do about the same again this week. So I feel I'm an old-style goth, now security guard. I'm really a teddy bear until something goes down. Yeah, I know. Like, my days of having to prove something are fucking long gone. Like, I don't need any of that. It all hurts too much in the morning now. And that's on a normal day, let alone after you've had a fucking throwdown. But I genuinely don't need to go looking for trouble. Even when I felt I had something to prove, I never went looking for it. It just had a knack of finding me. But hey, those days are long gone. They were fun though. It's the areas you hang out in. Some of them are fun though. Like I said, you know, I like to go places and see things that you don't normally see. For me, I can't understand why someone would go on holiday, like a resort holiday, right? This never... It's never interested me. You go halfway across the world to sit at the side of a swimming pool and you don't leave the resort. God, that sounds horrible. What? Why? You just want to do what? Like a warm version of the UK? Fuck off to Gibraltar. And Gib's lovely, don't get me wrong. I've been a couple of times, we're definitely going again. It's a good place, you know. Want to laugh? I'm in work in an office painting and being paid. Lovely. Nice. Did that in Japan. Just went walkabout off the beaten path and explored just real random places that people don't normally walk about. Exactly that, mate. Exactly. I want to see how a country really, really is, you know. On days where I do stuff like that, I don't eat until I can find a place that doesn't have a menu in English. And then I will get by in whatever garbled version of their local language that I can speak. So I speak a little Spanish that I've mostly learnt from bad American TV. And like one CD I had for how to learn Espanol when I was 19, 20 or so. Went to Madrid with a girl. It was a good weekend. Good long weekend. Only the last few days to get rested, otherwise I wouldn't have stayed in either. Yes, always go for local food. Always go for local food. Yeah. Yeah, you could do. That makes sense, Nightmare. Like, certainly a lot more fun than wandering around some streets with what could very well be La Revolution. But part of the experience for me is doing the walk and seeing it. When we were in Bali, and yes, as you can tell, I've travelled a lot. I got married in Bali, in fact. We rented a car for a day and a driver. And this dude turned up at the villa with, I think it was a Subaru sort of style off-roader. Not like the Impreza or whatever, like the rally car, but like a... Imagine it was like a Subaru version of a Land Rover Discovery. Like the old Landy Discovery, not even the new one. Forester? Could have been. Could have been. All I remember was at Subaru, because it was a Scooby-Doo. It was an Outback. I don't know. But anyway, he turned up in that, and there's 5 of us, and there's only 4 seats. And he's like, oh. And there was myself and Flick, and she was petite. She was like 4'11" and a bit, and very slim. I'm very broad-shouldered, but I was a lot lighter then than I am now. Probably a little over 12 stone. So ever so slightly too skinny for my frame. But the rest of my party were a guy, his name was Brandon, but his Reddit handle was Cave Johnson, so we always just called him Cave Johnson. And he was a solid 350 pounds. Ex-Marine. His buddy Alex, who was an ex-Marine, and was not as big as Cave, but was a big dude. And so we'd have been fine to get in this thing, all of us, if it wasn't for the Americans. And my buddy Josh from Colorado, who, similar build to me, a little taller, a little thinner across the shoulders, but still a decent-sized guy. So we ended up with 2 of us sat in the back of this thing, bracing against the other side so we could get around. Went and saw the monkey temples at Ubud, which was fucking brilliant. And oh god, it was hilarious. So it was pissing with rain because it's Bali and it rains a lot. And some of us had taken umbrellas. Some of us, like myself, I just couldn't be asked to carry it. I knew I was going to get wet, so in my bag that I left in the car, I took spare boxer shorts and socks. And just dealt with the fact that I'm going to get wet, then I'll dry off, and at least I've got some underwear that's not going to be sort of squelchy around you boys to change into. But a lot of the guys we saw out there were wearing ponchos, and Cave thought ponchos would be a good idea, so he and Alex bought one. And then decided that he didn't like his head getting wet, so he bought an umbrella. He bought an umbrella for what turned out to be like £15 for a shitty umbrella, because tourists no have umbrella. Here we go. Here's some dollar. And we're wandering around this monkey temple. And basically what it is, it looks more like jungle than forest, but it's really kind of a forest. It's not all overgrown, but because they're kind of trees and bushes and ferns out there, you end up with the feeling that you're in the jungle, despite the fact you're not in the jungle. And there's monkeys everywhere, and you can buy bananas to feed the monkeys, and all of that sort of thing. Creasing here, brilliant. So Cave was wearing shorts, and in his shorts, he, like me, had thought, I'm going to get wet, I'm going to take some spare socks. So took a pair of socks and jammed them in his pocket. And he's got this umbrella, and he's walking around, and this monkey goes, well, it's fucking wet here, I'm going to follow you, you've got a brolly. So this monkey, when you see monkeys in the zoo, very cute. When you see monkeys in the wild, very cute. When you see monkeys up close in the wild, you're like, very cute, but fuck me, it's got big teeth. Is that a place where all your stuff belongs to the monkeys now? Sort of. We'll get to that in a sec. So he's got this umbrella, and we're stood because someone's taking a photo, and this monkey just stops under the umbrella and sits down next to Cave. He's like, dude, look at the monkey! Oh, this guy's so cute. He's my friend now. That's it, he's my friend. And the monkey looks up at his pocket. And the monkey's going, huh. Long, thin shape, like that. I reckon that's a banana. And Cave's still there. Take a picture now! And the monkey takes one hand and puts it straight up the inside of his shorts, like this. And suddenly his expression goes from like, yes, it's so funny, he's so cute, to, he's right near my junk. I don't know what to do! Oh no. Guys, help. And the monkey's got one arm inside his shorts, and this banana, and I don't mean like that. I mean in the pocket, the socks. He's got the other side of this. He's like, yeah, I think this is a banana. I'm fucking going for it. And then goes for it. And Cave's like, fuck this, fuck off, fuck off. And he's got the umbrella between him and the monkey at this point. Oh man, we're all dying. We're all absolutely in stitches, dying. And he's shitting himself. Poor guy, fucking hell, what? It was hilarious. So yes, Barley, don't put socks in your pocket if you go into the monkey temple. Important life lesson, you won't find that in a tour guide. Mini painting tips, travel tips, cooking tips, you get it all here. So spank, oh god. Madder, you win the chat. That's so funny, I can't even laugh at it. Long story short, he called it his Geordie wife. Oh. Sarah, I think at that point, you might have had an issue. But certainly, you know, people say the monkey stole your umbrella. No. Look, that umbrella cost 15 quid, alright? He was not going to let go of that fucking umbrella. Can you give me a tip on throwing a proper cross? Do you mean like a right cross, like a punch? Line your shoulders up behind it and snap at the waist. Punch using those two knuckles. Never punch using these two knuckles. Always these two. Your arm lines up like a fucking rifle. Bam. But really, throw an elbow instead. Yeah, absolutely, Middleton. Those monkeys, like, you wouldn't mess. Like I said, on TV, they look cute. In a zoo, they look cute. In the wild, they look cute. When they're up close in the wild, you're like, fuck, those are some big fangs. It's illegal in boxing. All right, I'll take up MMA. Or, you know, distract the judge. You know, go proper old school wrestler heel move and be like, hey, look over there. I've had friends that were boxers, but as a sport, it wasn't ever anything I wanted to get involved with. My training is in martial arts, predominantly Bushido, which Bushido then comes with basically a training in other martial arts as well, like Aikido, Hapkido, and so on. Then obviously all the weapon forms and everything else like that. So having that background, the thought of limiting myself to just punching a guy seemed alien to me. But best is to pick them up, drop them, fight. I can tell you're a doorman. Right, done on the... I think these are incursors. And the other ones are infiltrators. Yeah, these are incursors, because they've got the landmine. Judo, I flip people. Nice. One of the guys I used to wrestle against quite frequently was a judo guy. He could take falls like nobody else. Just, all that judo training just takes over and away he goes. I'm black belt in Lego. Nice. How do you deal with standing on one? Give us some tips, Senpai Sarah. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Remember, ex-wrestler. Learned all about that. To be fair, though, depending on the slam, I usually just wouldn't put my hands down. If I trusted the guy and I knew he'd plant me properly, just wouldn't use my arms at all. Loved judo when you were younger? Nice, dude. I never did it. I did a very, very, very small amount of jiu-jitsu. That was cool. That works on a lot of similar principles from what I understand about it. Lots of bodyweight throws and so on. But that was something that I was being taught by Scott-san, who was my Bushido teacher. Because he just knew it. He was like, by the way, here's something else that you can do. We teach you this way to do it, which is the Aikido way, but there's this way to do it, which is the Jiu-Jitsu way. Benefit of having an instructor that basically lives, eats, and breathes martial arts. He did say, whatever you do, don't ever tell anyone I taught you to do this, especially if you use it at Kumite. Jiu-Jitsu is after I've already thrown your ass. Oh dear. I swear, like a sailor until the pain fades. Brilliant. Standing on a plug or standing on Lego. I don't know. What? I'd say probably a plug, because a Lego is usually frequently flat. Sharp corners, they're annoying, but the plug is that fucking 3 prongs of death. So I have stood on a nail before by accident. When I was a kid, the house I lived in with my parents, from the age of probably 4 or 5 years old to sort of 6 years old, we did quite a lot of work on the house. So we built an extension which almost doubled the size of it. And so as a child, I was a good source of manual labour. And it was very much a case of, right, all of the bricks that are on the driveway need to be at the end of the garden. And we lived in the countryside, so we had a big garden. And that was 70 yards. So, all right. So you start off with like 1 brick because you're 4. And by the time you've got to the end of your school summer holidays, you're at like 3 bricks and you feel that you've nailed it. Wamposaurus, cheers for that follow. You take care. We'll see you again. Clearly I'm talking British plug, not a wimpy American thing. Yes, absolutely. You think look good a Blade Guard with this scheme? Blade Guard would look good with this scheme. Hang on, let me try and pronounce it now. Mauricio Mori. Mauricio Mori. I think that's probably right. Here is, in fact, a Blade Guard veteran that we've done in this scheme. And you can find how to do this on YouTube. !YouTube for a link. Go and have a look. The first part, which is on YouTube, is all about how to do the armor. So all of the red, basically. The second part, which will be on Patreon on Friday morning next week, is how to do everything else. That includes the sword, get your decals looking right, all these robes, and so on and so on and so on. So, definitely Blade Guard looks sick in this scheme. So go check that one out. And soon, I think, so we've got YouTube and Patreon videos planned for next week. This week was YouTube one, next week's the Patreon one. We've got those planned. The one after that will be YouTube, and I think what we're going to do is paint this guy, which is one of the stream giveaway models. We're going to do his skin as a YouTube tutorial. And then the following Patreon tutorial, if I can lift this up past everything else, is a guide on how to paint marine tanks, like any marine tank. They basically are all the same these days. So you can use this for any tank, really, but specifically marine tanks, how to paint those. Not just as Blood Angels, we're using a Blood Angels color scheme, but we did the Impulses as Dark Angels not long ago. We've done some Space Wolf, like Razorbacks and stuff back in the day. The same principles apply to any version of marine tank. They're just easy. Painted Cadillac Warriors in red and black, so I'm going to check that. Nice. Nice. Dropped a lead pencil at school years ago. and leant off my chair to pick it up and slumped back on the chair and drop it again. I accidentally sat on it. Oh my god. Wow. Firstly, how did you get to your... Are we at vintage now or age? Safe, like, well, not safely. Clearly not safely, but like without too much battle damage, we'll say. Because that's clumsy AF. Also, there's way too many jokes I could make about that. But I'm thinking you're a classy lady. And I won't. Just Bits. That's a very appropriate username right now. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Dear, dear. You're great, Sarah. I think sometimes you're a little bit like me, the cautionary tale of what not to do. Oh, man. Right, so, quick chat. Let's not forget about the giveaways we've got going on this month. We have, as always, the £50 hobby voucher where you can spend your meeps, which is the stream currency, to buy raffle tickets to win the voucher. The giveaway is the last stream of the month, which this month is the 28th. But that's not the only thing that's happening that weekend. So the giveaway stream is always the last stream of the month. This weekend, though, on the last weekend of this month, for the entire weekend, we are painting all of the Necrons. So we've done this before. We did the Necronathon, and the first one was 110 minis painted over a weekend. And I think they look great. You know, they're definitely speed painted, but there's no dry brushing or anything done. You know, they're done to a good standard for tabletop, but not to like a display standard at all. Jaeger, put it in the chat, the mod chat. I need to do that one. That can come up on Monday's admin morning. That one and the channel points rewards, channel points one, 50,000 channel points. Jay tells a story. So this time around, we're finishing off the Studio Necron army. Now, we've already done quite a lot of warriors. We've got 60 warriors painted. We've got a few immortals and all of that sort of thing. The mystery box just appeared. I swear it wasn't there when you started up. So we didn't always have that emote. I designed that emote. It's the first emote I designed myself. I felt really proud of this last Monday. This was last Monday's admin day. And I was fucking super stoked over doing that. We've altered some of the other emotes as well. But yeah, now we've got the mystery box emote. So yeah, very, very proud of myself with that one, despite the fact it's just a small box designed in Photoshop. But yeah, that's to do. So this time around, we are painting up some more warriors because GW kind of did the dirty on us on this one. I was a little miffed. Here's Indomitus, and here's the weapon profiles for your Necron guns. New gun is good, but situationally good. Alright, cool. So I'll assemble my Necron warriors, and we'll take 20 with the new gun and 40 with the old gun. And then the codex comes out, and they're like, got him! Now I need 20 more warriors with the new gun. Well, fortunately, we have 20 more warriors that Mr. Nick McDade has been assembling for us, along with some other things. So the list of stuff to paint this time around is 20 warriors with Gorse Reaper, 20 immortals with Gorse Blaster, 5 immortals with Tesla. There's some Scorpec destroyers to do. There's 3 Locust heavy destroyers to do. There's 3 Doomstalkers to do. There is the Silent King to do. Oh, yes. Can't wait for that. He's such a fucking badass. Really want to put him on the tabletop. We've got... What else? 2 Doom Scythes to do with magnetized weapons. We have a Psychomancer, a 6-shooter man. Forgotten his name already. There's more. I know there's more. Some more characters to do. Some Ophidian destroyers to do. Yes, we did. We got 6 of those. Hexmark. That's it. Bit of Brush. Cheers for the follow. Loner Crowd. This is the end of the month weekend. So it's the 27th and 28th of February. I don't know why, but in my head there I nearly said November, and I have no idea why that was coming out. And that is going to be a hell of a weekend. We're going to stream probably a 14-ish hour stream day one. Hoping not much more than that. And then day 2, we stream till the job is done. Up to 24 hours. So we have 48 hours to paint what's around the 60 to 70 minis mark. Oh shit, there's another 9 scarabs or something in there. I think I've got 18 currently, so it must be another 9. Is it really? Brilliant. So yeah, there's loads to be painted. There's easily maybe even 80 minis, but whilst that is less minis than the last time, the Silent King is part of this. He's an army centerpiece. He can't be painted badly. He's got to be painted well. So we've got a load of Blackstone and stuff to do on him. We've got some larger, more intricate minis, the Doomstalkers. You know, there's some cool shit to be done here, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. Now, during that weekend, we've got some giveaways to do for the whole weekend. Because when you're doing a stream like this, and it's this very endurance-based stream, I find that you need something to keep your own engagement up, aside from the painting. And the thing for me that really helps me sort of keep that going is having good community engagement, and a great way to get good community engagement is to give some shit away. And so we've got some Necron objectives and tokens and marker sets. I'm going to paint those up on stream as well. I've got a set for myself to do, and we might do one set. So we've got a painted set to give away as well. But we'll have a few sets that are like plain, essentially, so you can paint those in your own Necron color scheme. So we've got 4 sets of those to give away. Sarah, seeing as you're here, we're probably going to do some Rivalcraft vouchers, and possibly, if you've got time to make some up, some basing kits. But it'd be cool if I could get you to post them. I'd pay for the postage, obviously. But rather than them sort of come here and then go somewhere else, if you could post them, that would be grand. But I'll talk to you about that off stream if you're okay with that. Definitely some rival gift vouchers. We'll get some of those sorted out. We've got a Cromlech gift voucher to give away. I think it's €20, so not a bad one. So you've already got some decent stuff to give away. I think it's cool. And what we're probably going to do as well is we'll find one of the minis that we are painting. So I've got somewhere like a 2nd Royal Warden or a 3rd Psychomancer, or not Psychomancer, Plasmancer. We'll paint that up, and then we'll give away a painted mini as well. So we've got loads and loads and loads of giveaways. Awesome, Sarah. You're an absolute legend, as always. See, guys, not only the best products for basing that you could ever get, but look at that service. Admittedly, I did put you on the spot and ask you in front of like 80 people, but you know, still quality service. So we've got all that to do coming at the end of the week, end of the month, not end of the week. God, it can't be the end of the week. That's now. On top of that, we've got our usual giveaways, so that £50 voucher I was talking about earlier on, and the mystery mini giveaway. So for those of you that don't know what that is, every month we give away 2 minis, one of which is for a subscriber here, the other of which is for someone that is a video viewer tier or higher over on Patreon. Last month, we gave away this Orc. This was the Patreon member giveaway. That's what they chose out of the 3. So this is the new commemorative Orc mini. Jaeger, me too, mate. I've got 2 friends that work at GW, and I've asked them both to pick me one up when they get it. I want ideally 2, one for a giveaway and one for myself. The other one we gave away last month was this GC Occult Abominant, which we're using as part of a painting project for a diorama competition entry. As you can see, we've got this sort of nighttime scene going on where he's in the barrels of the Underhive. Did I say barrels or bowels? Maybe a mixture of both. Loads of OSL, lots of dark and light sources. We were going to carry on with this guy today, but I want to take a break from him, do some work on the Blood Angels. So we've got that going on. For this month's giveaway, the minis we currently have, Fish and Chippies, cheers for the follow. There is something in the mystery box. And you won't know what it is, but there's something in here which you can choose. Or the mini we have currently publicized as part of the giveaway is this guy, the Lord of Virulence from the Death Guard set. I fucking love this mini. He's so cool. I wanted to paint him, therefore we didn't put him in the Patreon voting channel. And we have until tomorrow evening to vote on that. So if you're a Patreon member that's video viewer or higher, you get access to a channel on Discord where you can vote on upcoming giveaways and so on. It's usually just giveaways because the tutorial content is based on what I have to paint at the time. But you could definitely, if you're of the right tier, head there, get your votes in now. You've got until start the stream tomorrow. It's very close at the top between 2 minis. I'm not going to tell anyone what they are. Don't want to spoil the surprise for anyone that's not in that channel. One just got into the lead yesterday evening, in fact. It was neck and neck until yesterday evening. Shit, Sarah, did I miss your message and everything else? I do apologise. So you pack small Necro Christmas for a giveaway as it's Necron themed. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I've used those on some of the bases. I've bought quite a few of them. They're really, really good. They're from Spellcrow. That'd be sweet. That'd be really, really sweet. Thank you very, very much. See, guys. Isn't she the best? Isn't she the best? Like, strike now while the iron is hot, because clearly she's still in that birthday rum / gin / whatever zone. So if you've got something you need to ask Sarah, now's the time. Gin rummy, brilliant. The best basic materials in my opinion. Nid, you are 100% correct. I used to import grass tufts from, I want to say it was Poland. I'm pretty sure Gamer's Grass is Poland. And the shipping was obviously not fucking cheap, but that's because they were the best. And then Rival Crafts came on the scene, and now they're not the best. Like, I will support 100% local businesses if I can. I think it's important in today's sort of modern world where everything's easy to get over the internet, but you don't necessarily have that connection with the person that's running the business that you can get if you support your local. Also, if it's your game store and stuff like that, you know, you kind of need to go and support them, especially if they're having a hard time through COVID. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to play any games for 40k when we've got rid of this shit, because there's going to be nowhere to play it. So do make sure you support your local as well as the bigger stores like Element. And if Element's your local, fucking A, knock yourself out. But I tend to buy like things like small hobby supplies that I don't need immediately from a local, and then the bigger orders go through Element, because obviously you're looking at a difference of like 60 quid's worth of product. Exclamation point Tufts or exclamation point Rival, there's that link. Also, use code Mohawk to get 6% off your order as well. But it's very easy to spend over 30 quid and use code SAVE10. So, do that. But honest to God, you will not find a better product than what Sarah puts out. You just won't. And I know that because I've used them all. We've gone through various different suppliers to find the best things for our minis, both as stuff for my own personal projects and stuff for the commissions, to ensure that what we're giving our client or what I'm putting on the table as an advert for my business is as good as it can possibly be. I'm telling you now, there isn't no beating that. When we see blue and green pigments soon, very soon. I may or may not have seen a picture of what looks like 1 billion different colours, and trust me, you'll be able to do demon worlds with the stuff that Sarah's putting out. Like, you are not going to need to look anywhere else for a pigment. Now, we're going to test the hell out of them. And you guys know that I am very honest when it comes to saying this is no good. I'm sure they're going to be fantastic along with the rest of Sarah's product. But I'll let you know. We're going to absolutely go through them. I've had big companies come to me, rhymes with Bean Muff World, brilliant, asking me to make their stuff and claim it as their own brand. Yeah, absolutely. Right. There's a lot of companies out there that obviously just put their label on stuff. Because that's just how things are done. That's just the real world, right? I mean, I wear a Hollister hoodie. This was probably not made by Hollister Company. It was really made by somebody else and then put this thing on. But they're fucking comfortable and I love them. So that's just real world commerce. But the stuff you produce, Sarah, is so good you don't need anyone else claiming that's theirs. You can definitely stand on your own feet with that. Robocraft is awesome. I've used it on my Joven, Fire Server Turret, and now my Warsuit, and they are mega. Can't wait for pigments. There you go. Karen at number 22 made that, yeah. Can't have been. She was too busy complaining to my manager. This year, COVID stopped me doing the London Marathon. Most years, I don't do it because I'm a lazy kid. I mean, yeah, damn that COVID's, right? I was going to run 26 miles and then probably throw up noisily at the finish line. But yeah, COVID. Yeah, that's why. That's why. We'll do it next time it's not on. Fucking Karens. Love the RC instant base scatter so much. Yes. I used it on all of my Nurgle demons. Now I'm one of those people that tends to paint everything that goes on a model. Obviously not tufts, because that would be weird. So I used that as like the absolute bottom base layer that goes on over some pumice. Sarah, have we got Rival Crafts pumice yet? Do I have to keep using Vallejo, or are we going to get Rival pumice? Because that's the one basing material, literally the only thing I use on a base apart from paint, that I don't buy from you. Like that is literally it. Everything else, Rival Crafts. Pumice, Vallejo. It is already 2 o'clock. God damn. When I find blue or green pigments, also, what's the gold and silver you use? So, obviously, like I said, stay tuned for Sarah picking some up. The other thing you can do is literally make them yourself. So, somewhere... Oh, there they are. Somebody asked about paint strip stuff. This. Biostrip 20. Super good. I need some more. I'm nearly out, but... Gumbalina! 4 months. It's only been 4 months. Fucking hell, dude. You honestly feel like part of the furniture around here. Good afternoon. Thank you for that sub. So I bought these. These are just some cheap pastels, right? And there's some foam. There's 68 different colours in here, all right? Now, the ones that are missing from the box, which are these, let's unzoom. Some would call that zoom out, but it's an unzoom. The ones that are missing basically got taken out of here, thrown into an old electric coffee grinder that I've got, whizzed the fuck up, and then put into tiny little pots to make my own pigments. So we had like purples and pinks that I wanted to create a weird demon world with. So this is an option. If you don't have a coffee grinder, some sandpaper is good. Just sort of use them against the sandpaper, and it will spill off onto something. Use that to then put it on your bases. But here's an option. However, I'm going to tell you now, it creates a lot of mess. If you've got anything even approaching a dust allergy, which I do, then wear a lot of protective equipment. 68, so close. Yeah, I know, right? You need one more pigment, Sarah. Don't know where you're going to find that or what inspiration you might draw from it, but got to have a full range of 69. But yeah, you can use those. It's just, obviously, that's an expense and some effort and so on and so on and so on. So, yeah, just wait for Sarah to get her pigments sorted. Right, we're nearly going to the whip. Gumbalina, that's... Nope. Let's call pumice the 69th. Brilliant. That's a very gritty 69th. Right, anyway, like I say, we're about to go into the whip. We've probably got just less than 10 minutes or so before we move over. So, !whip or !discord. Head on over there, upload some pictures of what you've been working on. Let's see it. I know a lot of you have been painting during the stream. If you'd like the stream to see what you've been working on, if you'd like some feedback, some constructive criticism perhaps, then pop your work in there. Show me what you got, in the immortal words of Mr. Sanchez. Gritty is the only way. Blech. At least my Drukhari arrived this morning. Nice. Gritty 69 sounds like my Saturday night. Gross. Mickey Hook, did you see my message on Discord? You put a really cool list in the Streamiversary lists thing. But we can do more. Eversaw Assassin, Junith, and it was 2 minutes of like 5 sisters. Definitely get something else in there. And it just so happens I've got an Eversaw Assassin upstairs as well, which is unpainted, so I completely forgot I had it and found it the other day. I'm like, oh, that'll make a great stream giveaway. Well, it might. Yeah, I got my Kingfishers up on whip for some CC. Nice, dude. I'm trying to remember what a Kingfisher looks like, and I'm pretty sure it's like orange-breasted bird with blue-green feathers. I used to see him semi-frequently. I was fishing with an old man, but it's been a while. Delete that one and add a bit more. No, just edit it. Add some more to it. But it was a good list. So for those of you that don't know what the deal is with that, exclamation point list, we are giving away for the stream anniversary this year, which takes place in April. We're giving away a fully painted army. Now, let's not go wild. We're going to paint an army to the same standard as the rest of my commission work. So you're getting something that is a hell of a prize. What we need to do, though, is get this army done in a weekend, start to finish. Not the building and the undercoating and so on. That we'll do pre-stream and off-air, because nobody wants to see me fucking undercoat. What's the point in watching that? But what we need from you guys is to know what we're going to paint. Last year, we did a Chaos Night. It was fucking epic. Painted it up in the old school World Eaters corn colors, the white and yellow, as voted by the stream. Gave it away raffled it off rather than gave it away. And it sat in somebody's glass cabinet for nearly a year now, doing nothing. It's never seen the tabletop. And so this time around, I wanted to do something that you'd always be able to get on the table, even if it was just for like a crusade game or so, or maybe it's the start of an army that you want to add to. So what we're doing is we're allowing the community to come up with a list that we'll paint. So in that lists command, exclamation point list, you'll see a sticky post that we've put a link to. Read that, and then create an army list. Now, in there, it says, remember, we need to paint this in a weekend. We're looking for high quality rather than high quantity. We want a really, really good paint job and an army that you can put on a tabletop and have all your mates be envious of you having. But other than that, kind of fill your boots. So I've given an example list of some Tyranids, and there's a Tyranid list that's in there that's doing really, really well with the voting. And so to vote, all you've got to do is literally just go in and put a picture of Kingfisher as well. Fun fact, Kingfisher, pink, brown, the blue is here. Fuck me. Mill Tim, yes, you definitely should. How many points roughly? Don't think about points. So don't think about points. Points is immaterial. What does matter, as you'll find when you read the pinned post, Danny, or pay attention when the 100th time we've said this on chat. Pick an HQ, pick a unit of troops, or 2. Maybe pick a second HQ if you feel that it's appropriate to the list that you're creating. And then pick something else. So maybe a heavy support option, elite, maybe a transport for some of your troops, whatever it might be. So to give you an example of the list that I wrote, it was a Broodlord, I think. No, it was a Neurothrope. It was some Tyranid Warriors. It was some Rippers. And it was a brood of Zonethropes. So that's kind of a cool list. Each use list is a little bit more of a spin on that. He's got Carnifex in there instead of the Rippers. Sounds cool. But that's the kind of size that we're looking at. Something that we literally can paint, put together, send off to somebody, and then they can play whatever it is. I did 9 Repented to the list. Solid. I mean, that's doubled the size of it, but that I feel is still doable. There's a lot of flesh to be painted in that, because you've got the arcoflagellants as well. Yeah, I think that's a solid list. I'd like to paint some Sisters. I think Sisters are really, really cool models. I'd love to paint some Tyranids. I put a load of lists in there myself. We've got a cool Space Force on, which I'm actually kind of hoping wins. It's Bjorn the Fell-Handed, a Venerable Dreadnought with Axe and Shield, Murder Fang, and then some Intercessors. So 3 Dreads, 5 dudes, 8 minis, but God, they're going to look cool AF. Oh, yes, I love Dreadnoughts. Dreadnoughts are one of my favourite things in 40k. You just can't make an army that's good, that's comprised of just Dreadnoughts. Which is why I play Knights. But hey. So that's what we're doing. Go and pick an army. Please bear in mind, you may be asked to edit your list. Yes, you might. The financial thing is obviously something to be considered, but like, this is our stream anniversary. I'm happy to put my hand in my pocket for something cool. Like, some Forge World is going to be absolutely taking the piss. Some of it will be okay. Like, oh, I think some Custodian Guard and a dude on a jet bike and then a Telemon would be awesome. And you'd be right. It's awesome. It is awesome. But it's probably not going to happen based on the fact that Telemon is not a cheap bit of resin. Equally, yeah, there you go. There's Jaeger throwing that in. Equally, putting in something, though, like a Morkanaut plus a big mech and some grots and some killer cans. They are all plastic, right? That would be a cool list. That would be fun as fuck to paint as well. Like a Morkor Gorkanaut plus some grots, a mech. That would be cool. That would be very cool. We could definitely do a list like that. So I'm not saying don't put big shit in. But don't, for the love of God, think you can get away with Baneblade plus Tank Commander plus 3 Leman Russ. That's not happening. You can't really play that in most games of the size that we're expecting somebody to play with the army. Because you just rinsed all your command points getting that fucking Baneblade in. And B, you're going to run out of mates pretty quickly if you take that to a Crusade game. Like, here's my fluffy army. It's all tanks. Yeah, that's great, but it's not great. Right, going to finish off the recess shades on this guy. We've got 2 left out of the unit to do, but that's not the end of the world. We can get to those off stream. And then we're going to go into the whip gallery, like I've been saying. So, exclamation point whip. Going to upload some mini pics. 3 or less, so we can make sure we're not skipping over people's work and that you're not taking up too much of the time that somebody else. You know, let's share this time as a community and be fair with it. What about something different, like a Necromunda list? I don't play it, it does some really nice models. They do, that is true. But the reason why we've gone with 40k is because 40k is like one of my biggest loves. We'll add my girlfriend to the list, obviously, but things like 40k, whiskey and cigars are what sort of keeps me going. That's it. It's a big part of the channel. It's been a very, very big part of my life. And now that we do this professionally, it now is my life. So it feels apt for it to be a 40k thing. And I've got nothing against Sigmar models at all. I think the minis for Sigmar are probably one of the best miniature ranges that's ever been created, actually. But I'll never play the game. Shield captain on Dawning Jet Bike. Okay, first off, no. Just no. Big Bad Biddo! How you doing, bro? Good to see you, man. Yeah, I think it was probably due to like being dropped on his head as an infant. Whether that was an accident or not, I will leave to somebody else to decide. She's early, bro. Bro, where have you been? We do Saturday streams. We do Saturday streams from 11 a.m. UK time till approaching now, actually. So you're coming in right towards the end. We're about to go into the whip. We've been doing that for... kind of want to say a little over a month. I can't remember, though. Can't remember when we started. Darker Design! 4 months in now, man. How's it going? Thank you very much for that. Pearl Harbor and his best friend, some robot. Sure. I think Pearl Harbor is awesome. Shocking lack of a bad and love in the Discord channel. Christ, that's a tough one to fit into a weekend's worth of painting, isn't it? Hey, cheers, bro. Really appreciate it. Do love this Saturday stream, the only one I can regularly get to. Well, I'm really glad. So, the whole point of doing it was to either make it easier on people to watch the stream or to see and meet some new people. And I've certainly noticed that the regular streams are getting busier since we started this Saturday stream. So, it's obviously working. So, with Jay meets us at high ground. Brilliant. Well done, Moon. Fucking legend, G. Right, here we go. Today's Whippity Whip Whip. Starting off with Muad'Dib. Nearly finished. I may have gone a little bit OTT on the sword and maybe the Stormbolter. It's only a fun model as it may never see the light of the tabletop. The Stormbolter I think is frankly ridiculous. Kaz, we do take commissions, but we are currently not able to because basically since November I've been booked up to October, and taking anything on past that is... Nah, that can't happen. I'd end up disappointing somebody far down the line saying, look, sorry mate, it's going to be 2 months. And I don't want to do that. Is there too much D10,000 Sun stuff? There's a lot of D10,000 Sun stuff, so keep that list real small if you're going to do one. Maybe throw some Zangor. They're cool. But Tim, Stormbolter is ridiculous. And you haven't drilled the barrel. That's a big barrel to not drill. The sword is looking good though, mate. Honestly, I like it. We got, yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's looking good, bro. For anyone that would like to do a sword like this, let's see if I can find it. I did a post on Patreon, which is free for everyone to look at. It was a while back. Dark Angels, Sword of Change and Molten Blades. Here we go. So this one is available for everyone. Come on, don't be a pain. Everyone to view. I'll pop a link in the channel. Ah! Rubbish. Click the wrong button. Copy that. Paste that. There you go. So, for anyone wanting to do like a molten blade like this one, I feel Tim has taken some inspiration from that. There's a guide on how to do it. Try doing the Pedley way. Okay. My way is very different. My way, the black is the last thing that goes on. So you paint all your base layers down, and then you come in after that fact with the black to get that coming through crisp. It's much easier to get your colours down on that. But I like it. I really like what you've done, mate. The Stormbolter, I'm not sold on that at all. I think if you'd taken the front plate off, it would have looked okay. But it's good. Kaz, you definitely should, bro. In fact, right near, probably in the first half an hour of stream, I showed everyone how to do it as well. But nice work, dude. Honestly, I think you've got a great little concept there. Very cool Terminator Librarian. I'm a big fan. Right, Crazy Fish. Here's a Kingfisher-inspired Warcry Shadow Stalkers, Silverfisher bases, and the eyes. Yes, you have to do the eyes. I like them. I'd love to see what they look like with the bases. And though I've never watched an episode of it in my life, I'm getting strong, like, Dragon Ball Z vibes off of these guys. Especially the one with the hair that's fairly vertical. But I like them. I think they look cool. This doesn't scream out to me Kingfisher. I don't necessarily immediately make that connection, so I wonder what you're going to do with the bases to see if that helps push the sort of connection to it. But I really like the scheme. Kaz used both flow improver and thinner. We explained that fully during that section of the VOD. So you can either go back and watch it on Twitch, or if you wait after the stream for a little while, I always put the VODs up on YouTube, so you'll just look at it there as well. Need a little yellow in there. Yeah, definitely. I think you've nailed the scheme though, dude. That blue-green fade is lovely. A little bit of purple in the recesses. Yeah, looks grand, dude. I love the sense of motion you've got on these models. They're pretty banging. And there's a Kingfisher as well. So you see there, we've got that little blue-green. We've got a nice orange towards the front. Little bits of white in there. Yeah, good work, dude. Really good work. Might use some of this from Mandrakes and Drakari. That would work. Danny, nice one, mate. Cheers. Was it really that far in? Lord Endus. One model done. Time to finish the set and start on the multi-part ones. Nice. Got some salamanders with the melter. These guys. Oh, God. They're grim as salamanders, mate. They're so fucking nasty. Looks good. A little bit of speckling going on there on the backpack thing. I'm not sure what the deal is with that. Maybe worth going in and just doing that one again. I think what you've done is really good. You've got very, very, very dark panel lining going on. But it's effective. I think what they do need, though... Ooh. There's the next lot. Grim. I think what you do need, though, is definitely something on those shoulders. Definitely something on those shoulders. Dark or light bases. I would definitely go dark bases, I think, for yours. Because you've got so much vibrancy on the Mini already. You could go for like a dry riverbed. With like a few pools. That would look really cool. But I'm very much about that. Model should be in complete contrast to the base, rather than them sort of all flowing together. MC, Tactical Warsuit, doing the base with Rival Craft and getting some more colour down. Invicta Arm base colours done. Nice. Yes. Absolutely. These things are such great minis, though. Like, honestly, they're fucking epic things. Top work. Oh, nice little splash of colour there as well. That bolter looks sick. Nice black blue. Expired Milk, thank you for the follow. Lovely. Great username. There. Yeah, nice work, dude. Keep it up. Keep it up. Miley, painting while watching stream is motivating. Gonna use this for a Blood Bowl team. Oh, okay. Yeah, solid Dark Elves. I see what's clearly a Blitzer there in the middle. Nice. One of my first Blood Bowl teams ever was the old Nagaroth Nightmares Metal Minis. And it was the very first Blood Bowl tournament I went to. And on my second down of the first half of the first game, my Witch Elf went for it, rolled a 1, re-rolled, rolled a 1, fell over, died. Great. Way too many combat drugs, clearly. Heart exploded. You know. Oh, that looks nasty. Love that blade. Nice, man. Nice. Keep it up. Daddy Tubbs, really enjoying painting this beast. All with a brush. Hoping to have it done. Ugh. Eyes. Hope to have it done within the next week. Kind of messed up the scroll by thinking the Mortem font looked a lot better thinner. Okay. Love that scroll work on the leg. That's brilliant. Really, really nice, dude. Nice bit of recessed weathering there. Get that rust going into those joints. Big fan of what you're doing here, dude. There's the butt shot. This is pretty sick. Let's look at this. I think that looks fine. I think that text looks really okay. I don't know if you've done it. I can't quite see it if you have. But I'd probably just highlight it a little. You need to when lettering is a little thicker. But I think that looks good. Honestly, bro, I think that looks really good. The question for you, though. You've got lots of rust and patina on the mechanical elements of this miniature, and even on some of the chains and stuff you've got that are just sort of hanging out on the front. Are you going to put any verdigris on the gold or bright brass armor that you've got there? I think that needs it. That looks very clean in comparison to everything else. If that's what you're going for, great. But maybe just get some like blue or green. And it looks like you might have done this with either oils or potentially just extremely thin paint to take the medium out of it. But I would do something like that. See what's up. Milton, honestly, don't worry about anybody else's skill level. Just worry about yours. Be better today than you were yesterday. See, Gumballina right there with that. That's honestly the best advice. I mean, I'm a fucking terrible painter. Because I'm not Sergio Calvo. Right? That's it. For me, he is the best painter in the world. I'm not him, therefore I'm fucking terrible by comparison. We can all, like, put ourselves against other people. You know, I'm just a better painter this week than I was last week. And I'm a better painter this year than I was last year. That's all I need to worry about. I wasn't going to. I was thinking it would be better looked after. But might get the go when the model is finished if the gold sticks out. I'd say that makes sense if it wasn't for the fact that... Sorry, Crazy Ant. I'm just going to go back to this. In fact, it's open in Chrome. If you look at this chain on the left-hand side, that chain is covered in rust and is attached to the armor. And so... I think based on that, you probably should. I wouldn't go over the top. Like a few bits here and there, maybe underneath some of the massive rivets and something like that. But just based on the fact that that's covered in crap, and the armor underneath it isn't, but that's clearly fixed to the armor, and not something that gets taken off and put on every now and again, to me that sort of breaks down that narrative of the armor is well maintained. But hey, it's your mini, it's your story, it's your way. Definitely wait till he's finished and doing it. Weathering is like the second to last thing that you do. Basically, the order at the end of the mini is your OSL is the last job. The weathering thing happens just before that. So Crazy Yanked, here we go. Oh, God. What's all this red from? That's new. So look at the other pic. Okay, Lion is cute AF, but... So last time we saw this was lots of verdigris, and now... Is the red... like reflections from the pink? Oh, sorry, on that screen it looks slightly red, on here it looks much more pink. Cool. It is the reflection, right. Sorry, on that screen, because the colour is obviously ever so slightly off, all of that pink looked like red. I'm like, why is there red everywhere? On this screen, it looks much more like pink. That's much better. Yeah, good work. I'm not sure that the reflection on his like giganto belt buckle is in the right place. Force Breaker, it can be. It can be. You can have something that looks very rough and dirty, but also still has enough shine to it through either oil, grease, or whatever to also be reflective. It just probably wouldn't be a mirror sheen. That's all. That's the... Wait. Really? You haven't painted that on? At all? Glass Show, how you doing? Put a video. Alright, cheers, bro. If you want to take that away, what you can do is matte varnish it. Also, yes, basing always on point with you. Now, I've seen the back of this guy as a video, and that eagle on his back is super, super reflective. He's been using the liquid gold from Vallejo, and I think that was a liquid chrome on the eagle there on the back, and it is like a mirror. So fair. Did I see all the boys? I did, mate. I did. Forge Breaker, first crack at NMM Steel, probably about halfway done now, pushing highlights and shading next and glazing blue/black afterwards. Oh, by the way, if everyone doesn't follow Glass Joe, give him a follow. Oh, it's Molotov stuff. Got you. Nice. Very, very nice. I love he's holding the wine bottle. I don't know why, but I love that. Very cool, man. Good work on that NMM. It's hard to do. Steel, any metal that's got a little blue to it, I think is just difficult. Because you run the risk of it being blue. So. Here we go. Better photo. Looks good, dude. Looks really good. I'm fine with non-metallic metal gold, but my silvers are not. I'm not as good with them. Okay, here's Crazy Yank's vid. Let's embiggen it. Damn. Yeah, it's just natural reflection. That's crazy. If you want to stop it, like I said, give it a matte varnish. Like that's the thing to do. Because it's this natural gloss that you've got from that that's causing that effect. If you like that effect, roll with it. Totally roll with it. It's for a Scottish mate who wanted blue and white cloth. Oh, nice. Nice. But yeah, in the photo, it's certainly... like, that jumps out to you a lot more in that photo than anything else. But great work, dude. Nice little one-off. Trajan's a cool mini. He is a really cool mini. I didn't think it was spilled paint. I thought you'd painted in the reflection, though. And it just goes to prove me completely fucking wrong that the reflection on top of the belt buckle is in the right place, because that's the actual reflection. So, but there we go. Today we've done a load of work on these Blood Angels. We did some airbrushing, we did some recess shading, powered through a fair bit of the infantry on this commission, which is really, really good. On the next stream, which is tomorrow night, we'll be back with Lenny and Carl. We're doing a diorama. This is a contest entry for a painting competition. We've got a diorama set up. You can see we've got this girder with some light sourcing and stuff going on. We've then got the furnace here, which you can see has had lots of light, both cast onto it from here and generating its own light. That will go on somewhere like this in relation to that. We've got a little fan down at the bottom. And then the man of the hour, the Tower of Power, the very, very sour Lenny and his little mate Carl. These are being lit up, as you can see, by both this little green palm scanner we've got going at the back. I'm trying to keep it in shadow away from the lights to darken down the shadow areas. You can see we've definitely got that little bit of highlighting just in the right places there. And then from the front, obviously they're being lit up by the furnace, the incredible power, the heat coming from that. So tomorrow night we'll be working on this, doing a little bit more. It's going to be the fun part now. We're going to be doing the highlights on Lenny and Carl from the furnace. The last stream we did on these, we did all of the bits towards the back to help pick out all the detail there. Now we've got all of the bits from the front. If we move these out of the way and allow all that light to come through, you can see that is very, very, very lit up. So loads of work. Sorry, mate, completely forgot about that. That's how in awe of the reflective paint I was. But there you go, that's tomorrow night, live at 9 PM. Right now, though, let's go find someone to raid. Let's see who's on Twitch right now. Miniatures Den we normally raid into. Flickster and Nalindi, we frequently raid into Nalindi. Let's go see who's got the minifigures tag on. Crazy Fish, hey, like, I am sometimes too honest, but I am always honest. There's no point in you putting in a piece to have some feedback and me just go, oh yeah, it looks great. Yeah, nailed it, bro. Way. Doesn't help anyone. Doesn't help you improve your painting. Doesn't help me because everyone knows I'm full of shit. So I'm not going to do that. I need your opinion. What on, dude? Let's see who's still streaming. So, Roll 1 to Explode is doing a 12-hour stream with some Seraphon. That could be fun. Orthoba Studio is painting a fucking epic-looking Ninja Turtle. I think I'm kind of all about that right now. That looks fucking dope. Oh, we're definitely going there. You disconnected. All right, man. No worries. Right. I think this is Michelangelo. Orange bandana. Michelangelo, right? How do you put red, blue, and purple on one model? My three main colors for my army. Donatello is absolutely the best. Definitely. Which is the main color, Glassjet? I'll tell you what, message me on Discord. But I would pick one of those three to be the main color. And then the two like complementary colors for all the details and so on. But I'd also, you could use your purple to shade the reds to help tie it all together. Raphael just had fucking anger issues. He needed to sort his shit out. Michelangelo, severe dependency issues on pizza. Leonardo, bit of a square. Donatello is the fucking boss. Also, bow staff fighting rocks. Anyway, we're going to head over to Orthoba Studio. When you get there, drop this guy a follow if you don't already. I'm going to. Throw in all of the emotes into the stream chat. Absolutely spam them through. Let them know where you came from. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night live at 9. Peace out, everyone. Have a good one.